Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are not alone. We are striving.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset, start taking iron today.
Thank God it's Friday.
It's Friday, my dudes.
It is Friday, my dudes. TGIF. Don't mind the dogs barking in the background. Welcome to Have No Sphere, right here on the Iron Realm Media YouTube channel. My name is Josh Corey, and we have got a super, super chill, laid back show for you tonight. I don't really think we've got too terribly much planned. Other than here in about an hour, I think we may try to take some calls. Regardless of what country you're in, I think I can scrounge up a phone number for you to call in and chit chat and talk and hang out with us. So if that might be something you're interested in, sit tight, hang around, and make sure you grab a pen and paper. I will try to share those phone numbers first chance I get. Sorry, my dogs are driving me a little crazy, making it hard. So let me just jump right in and start saying hello to the fellas. I'm going to start with Rob because it seems like such a treat for us to have Rob here. Rob_Freddy at Twitter. Rob,
hey.
How you doing?
Hey. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Got a few things I want to chat about tonight. I've been thinking about over the week, which has been pretty laxy-daisy, I suppose, but watched a few things yesterday that I wouldn't mind bringing up and getting all your opinions on it, so no, should be good. Just another thing too, I just got a phone call from Airline Bound. His Twitter account has been suspended for God knows what, but I can't contact him anymore on there, or no one can. So that's bizarre. So poor old Airline Bound, he's going to have to open up another one. Yeah, what was that? Sorry, Matt?
That's our friend Gary, who we had on here just a few weeks ago, who set up the flight tracker website.
His YouTube channel's still going, but he's gonna have to get another Twitter account. He has no idea on why he's been suspended.
Huh.
But uncontactable on there at the moment. But I've got his phone number, so I can have a bit of chat because he only lives down the road, if you want to call it that. Yeah, but no, should be a good show tonight.
I think so too. We haven't had any good pictures out of you in a while. Well, I suppose all your pictures are good, Rob. We've just not had any pictures out of you in a while.
No, I've been pretty slack. I've had a busy life the last year or so, but I'd like to get some more, that. But I've got my new computer going now, and hopefully I'm doing a bit of screen sharing today, and I'll show you a bit of a photo and another proof for me that the Earth's flat. How about that one?
Sweet. I love it. Well, why don't we hop over and say hello to the guy that we didn't get a chance to talk to this morning? He's been so damn busy, he slept right through the show, which is perfectly understandable and acceptable. Perfectly all right by me, one Mr. Zachary Zabala. Or if you're familiar with YouTube, you might know him as Good Times for All over there. He's got a few other nicknames that he goes by around here. But Zach, how's your week been? You staying busy apparently, huh?
Oh, yeah. How's it going, everybody? Sorry about the noise. We are in the process of working the land right now. Yeah, I got 20 new baby chicks added to the family this week. The ground is looking amazing. It's these landscaping rakes. I can't say enough for them. If you are a gardener and you've never used one, get a landscaping rake. It makes weeding so much easier. But yeah, I've been super busy. I've been trying to get seeds in the ground. The rain won't let up, but looks like we should have them in the ground by tomorrow now. We got a couple of days of no rain, so. But yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a good week. Very busy. Just trying to not be so stressed. I've never gone this long without having stuff in the ground. But what we're going to be growing, it happens in about a month. It doesn't take 90 days for any of our stuff to start producing. So not too worried about it. Just really wanting to get it going,
Heck yeah.
But yeah, it's been great, man. It's been, like nonstop, working till sundown, getting up, sun up. It's been fun.
Sweet. Well, that's awesome.
Once we get done with this crappy part, it'll be a lot better. I won't sound so beat down. Just preparing the land is always the hardest part, especially the first time.
So how you guys keeping chicks? You gonna do just like a regular, like a roost? Or are you gonna do like a chicken run? How are you gonna keep your chicks?
No, there's a run and a roost already here.
Oh,
so we have the chicks in the roost right now, and all the other chickens are running around free range right now. There's 10 other ones, but we can't put them together, or else the big ones will peck the little ones to death. So we got to get them a little bit bigger. Yeah. They'll eat each other.
And barbecue chicken. That's all right too.
On your roost deck, does it have 2 doors in there for your roost?
Yeah, it has one that is big enough for us to walk through, and then there's a sliding door that goes out to the run.
Yeah.
And then there's also another door on the run that we can go through. Oh,
now see, if you can add another door, this is the big difference. See, chicken coops only have 2 doors. So if you can add one more door and have 4, you could actually have a chicken sedan. Just saying. The difference between a chicken coop and a chicken sedan is those 2 extra doors.
Dad, we can do that.
Sorry. Nope. It's good to talk to you. We missed you this morning. But let me get over there and say hello to our other partner in crime over there in the Ironworks every Tuesday and Friday morning on Truth Frequency Radio, 4 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. One Mr. Walter Johnson, or Flat Earth Head, as he is often known. Walt, how you doing?
Hello, everybody. Excuse my noise as well. The heat has hit as well as the humidity here in South Louisiana, so I'm in fans, and there's no way to avoid it. Zach, I'm so sorry you're having herbivorous stressors there, man, and the anticipation of getting things in the ground. I can't wait to see what you get going. It's been quite a journey, man, and we definitely missed you this morning. We had a great show. It was great. We had our buddy Damascus Eternal Eye that was here with us on Have No Sphere last Friday, and it went so well we decided to hop over here to the channel for a brief continuation of where we left off this morning. So yeah, it was a great show. I'll drop the link, or it probably is already in the description. Trying to get to chat, haven't got there yet. So, but let's get everybody going, get everybody else in here, say hey to the rest of the fellas, and hello to everybody out there.
Well, perfect. Yeah. Did you get a nap in, by the way, Walt?
Me? It's Friday, and you think I'm not gonna?
I did too, for what it's worth.
Nice.
So
I saw that you actually got the show description and picture and everything. They're having a bit of trouble this morning, everybody that might have been waiting for that. I know you guys just sit on the edge of your chair on Tuesday and Friday mornings. But yeah, we've Chris
Apparently,
has
there's
been
been
having a
some,
bit of trouble with the server there at the TFR site, so hopefully that'll all be worked out next week. Knock on whatever.
knock on something.
For Micah, I'm sure.
Well, apparently Windows did an update, and Avast did an update, and Skype always updates, and was getting some error messages from his server company.
Well, we've been having the issue with the phone line the week leading up to this, and I mean, there's just been a lot of weird things going on across the grids, both electrical and informational. Especially, I don't know, it just seems like Rob said, with airline bound, and then we talked about it a bit this morning. Well, I don't want to get into all that. Let's get everybody in here, and then we'll talk about what the hell may be going on.
Right on. Well, that just leaves then the Adam Meakin. Adam, I know I saw you in chat this morning, but I think I heard you say you weren't able to catch too much of the show. But how's your week been otherwise?
Evening, everyone. Yeah, it's been a busy week, mate. Yeah. Honestly, I should just not say hello on TFR, because whenever I do, that's it. Second I say hello, I'm done for the day. But I was confused, actually. I did say hello to Liz and a few others in on a cheeky stream afterwards. You were saying about Damascus, and it was too big even for a TFR Ironworks, wasn't he? He needed an extension.
Yep. And even then, he just had to get some sleep.
Right. The area where he's at is a whole, like, he's on that, I think they're in the area where they don't follow any of the daylight savings bullshit. So he's officially, I think, 2 hours different from us. So it was 2 a.m. for him, whereas it's 4 for me. So he was staying up for the show. And then we threw him over on the other channel. So yeah, he had to head out. I had to actually head out too this morning. Again, apologies, trying to do the early breakfast and etc. before she headed out for work. So
yeah. I'm going to catch that show up actually, but yeah, I've had a busy week. There's a few bits I want to talk about tonight from my busy week on the plane. But before I do, there's one thing we've got to get out, because I was chatting to Roxanne tonight and she was aghast, and I didn't have any details for her with regards to the news I gave her, which was what we were chatting about last week, and that and Citizen Wolfie there. I don't know if you'll be aware of that over the UK thing, but the militancy has been kind of a kick in the nuts, mate. Unfortunately, humanity has lost out, and people have used timesheets and that to dishonour their word. Josh.
What?
I was saying timesheets and spreadsheets have been used to justify a dishonouring of a man's word and the agreement that was given to you on your employment. Yeah. And you've been stiffed over, mate. And all I'd say is I heard the response tonight, and well done, fella. Better to do the way you did, and respect, mate. And I just wish you all the best in the next few weeks.
Well, thanks. It's one of those things that I seem to have a tendency to self-destruct, as John Savage so eloquently put it one time. That, you know, once I see sort of the decline coming, that I tend to expedite it and just self-destruct the entire relationship, whatever it is. In this case, it happened to be with an employer. The last job I was at was in a kitchen, and I wanted to get out of the kitchen. I've been doing kitchen work for 25 fucking years, and I was ready to try something a little bit different. So I stepped outside my comfort zone and went and applied at what is basically just a factory. I mean, they make surgical equipment, surgical devices used for ophthalmologists. So when they're performing an eye surgery, they have all sorts of little tools and gadgets and gizmos that they use to cut and slice and dice and irrigate and hold open and all that good stuff. And our job was to make all of those little instruments using, micrometers and calipers and all that good stuff. This is microscopic work that we're talking about, thousandths of an inch in the manipulation of these metals, just trying to get them to the right size, shape, and all that good stuff. So when I got hired on, I wanted to make sure they understood, because my last job wasn't necessarily keen on sharing its time. And I wanted to make sure that my next job would have a good work-life balance for me. So I told them when I started, here's what I do. I do 2 shows in the morning. And even then, I don't think I was getting finished till like 8 a.m. because Walt and I would chill and we'd do post-production, write up the show description. I'd play around in Photoshop and get the thumbnail up there. And I was usually done by, 8. Just a couple hours post-production. Really isn't too bad considering we're just kind of in the process. Week, not an issue. Well, then about, 5 months in, they said, well, here's the deal. We've got too much business and not enough employees. So we need to have everybody give a mandatory 4 hours of overtime. So now it's Monday through Thursday from 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And that's going to be our work week. And you have a mandatory 4 hours on Friday from 6 to 10. Well, I spoke up immediately and said, well, look, I still can't get here till 6:30 on Tuesdays and Fridays. Everything else is fine, but on Tuesdays and Fridays, I can bail out immediately. I will rearrange my schedule. I will bail out immediately at 6 when we go off the air, and I can get here by 6:30. That is the absolute earliest I can get here. And that's if I stop doing post-production, push everything off onto my co-host, and devote all that time directly to you. So that's what I did. No big deal. I got to earn life credits. I can make exceptions. I can, there's no reason why we can't compromise on some of this stuff. Well, now, maybe 2 months after that, they decided that 4 hours mandatory overtime wasn't enough. They needed 8 hours of mandatory overtime. So now Fridays are from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. So all the stuff that I had to rearrange, my whole schedule that I had to push off for my free time, I had to move to Fridays. But now they're wanting Fridays too. So I'm going to have to reschedule again. Fine. Whatever. I need life credits. Not a problem. You want 8 hours mandatory overtime every week. I'll do that. I can use the money. Then about 2 days later after that announcement, they came walking up to me saying, hey, Josh, so what about those Tuesdays and Fridays, that half hour? We're going to need you to go ahead and get on the same schedule as everybody else. We can't make exceptions anymore. So we're going to need you to make a decision. I said, well, here's the deal. I have the 2 shows in the morning. I have a show on Friday afternoons. I said, I have a wife. I have a house. I have a son. I have pets. I have a yard to take care of. I have websites I run. I said, I own my own business. I said, for me to be a man of my word, when I say something, I need to be able to do what I say, which means I need to be able to plan and organize. So when I say I'm going to be somewhere, I try to be there, but I have to set that up ahead of time. So I have to schedule that. And then you guys come along behind and just start claiming my time as your own and just expect me to be able to clear my schedule or not have a schedule where I can just devote any and all free time to you. I said, and that's just not the case. I said, if you as a company can't be reliable, then I, as a man, I can't be reliable. I need to be a man of my word, so I need you to be a company of yours. I said, so with this agreement that we agreed upon when I was originally hired is no longer good, right? If that's a deal breaker, that's fine. I'd rather end things now while we're still on good terms than to build up all sorts of consternation and just anger and resentment, which is what I would do. So it'd be better to just end it now. So, if you're going to make me choose, then yeah, I'll just go ahead and leave now. And that way we can leave on good terms. And that kind of threw him for a loop. I said, oh, okay, whoa, Josh, wait a minute. Why don't you just put a pin in that and let us, the front office, we'll discuss it and we'll get back to you after the weekend on Monday. So Monday rolled around, and after they gave me their ultimatum on Friday, It's just Thursday. Then I gave them their ultimatum back. Come Monday, they said, all right, well, we can't make any special exceptions, Josh. We just need everybody on the same schedule. So why don't you go take the week, have your extra half hour. And then next week, if you want to stick around, you can stay and either do the full schedule like everybody else or not. And you just take the week to think about it. And it took me about, 10 hours. So I went home pretty much with my mind made up, but I wanted to give it some time. Came back the next day, showed up, didn't clock in. I just said, you know what, guys, I think it'd be better if I just grab my stuff here and now. And it doesn't make any sense to waste my time waiting a week when I could be spending that time looking for a job. So I'm just going to grab my stuff now and we'll just call it done. Said, I really appreciate the opportunity. I've learned a whole lot. And I thanked him, and that was that. I grabbed my stuff and was out the door. So I've been unemployed for the last week. Oh, yeah. Fuck them. That's what I say.
If I had a soundboard, Josh, respect, bro.
If only, right? If only.
You missed the end, mate. You walked out there with your fucking dignity intact, bro. Yeah? And you taught them that you can shove your modern world up your arse. Yeah? You're not bullying me.
Yep.
You're changing my life. And respect you, mate. Because it takes a lot of guts to stand up and say, enough's enough. In whatever walk. It's easy people to, it's only this, it's only that. But actually, when it's your life, to make a stand takes guts, mate. And yeah, I love you, bro. Well done.
Absolutely. Thank you, my
So
friend.
when do you go down to the local street corner with a little miniskirt on?
Of course, selling it down the docks.
Well, once I saw your video, Rob, I figured every day. I figured I'd follow your example and just do it every day. I mean, it seemed to work well for you. So
I'll tell you what, Josh, ass like that, I'd start now, mate. You'll be rolling in.
I would look fantastic in a miniskirt.
I have no doubt you would, Rob. No doubt.
I've got a butt to kill for, I tell you.
Like an onion, huh? Average, wouldn't it? Hey. Hello, possums.
So yeah, it's bittersweet. Sorry, go ahead, Walt.
No, I'm right there with you, and I've been watching it. I mean, I've been here as it's unfolded every morning with you on Truth Frequency, and I kind of felt it coming, and am like, you got to do what you got to do to survive and have a head that's not insane every day in this mad, crazy world they've got us locked into. So, kudos, my friend, for sure.
Well, yeah, it's bittersweet. One of the banes of my existence is job searching. Absolutely hate it. So quitting the job really did raise a lot of anxiety. Not having an income raised some depression. But I think being able to stand up for myself and be able to put my foot down and say no, which really in my life has been an issue for me, learning how to confidently tell people no. So for me to be able to do that, I think did sort of counteract all of the depressive episodes and anxiety that comes with being unemployed. I'm a decent worker. I still got my letters of recommendation. They'll still recommend me. Again, we left on good terms, so it works out well. I just hate feeling useless.
Unless they're listening to this show right now where you just called them fuckers.
We're just going to put you harder into the production of these things we do on a weekly basis.
I really wish I could. If I could figure out a way to stay home and devote more time to this, I absolutely would. I really, really want to get a toothpaste website up and running. I think that would be a great way to do it. If maybe even then only get a part-time job.
Looks like the first thing we're going to have to frickin' do is create our own channel, or our own site, whatever you call it, tube. We've said this a billion times, but even as I'm about to share my screen, if you don't mind showing everybody the fun, hang on, let me close this. So the way I normally go to our channel on Friday is I just pop my little tab here, and it goes to my page, and then over here I hit Iron Realm Media. And as you see, no live. icon, and you see over here where all the notifications I do have for shows that are currently live or have a live feed going, and no Iron Realm Media.
Ain't that some shit?
I'm luckily still subscribed. There have been weeks I've come over here and I was unsubscribed to all of these people that, you know, are part of the team I'm on here. So, but YouTube is continually telling us they're going to shut us down. Up until today, we found out, or at least I found out today on this morning show, about this latest purge they're about to do and get rid of 29,000 subscribers, and are targeting Flat Earth specifically yet again.
Yeah, I've seen it come through. Apparently, they're cracking down on the anti-U's, anybody that's, you know, against the Jewish people, or
wedge.
I'm sorry, what was that?
To avoid the bots. I used to go out on a Thursday night in Manchester, which was the wedge night out, and we used to talk conspiracy and that with the wedge guys, and they'd always, shut up, man, will you stop saying that word? If you're going to use it, it's much better in public to use the word wedge, because spelt backwards it doesn't have the same phonetic sounding. So if you want to avoid the bots, just wedge it.
Got you. Not W-E-D.
That's from the wedge's mouth.
Gotcha. Straight from the wedge's mouth, but the W-E-J, the wedge. Gotcha. For those that like to think and speak and read inverted and backwards, that's how that works. Yeah. Gotcha. Took me a minute.
Sorry.
So let's see. Walt, Rob, Adam, Zach, me. I think that about covers it. I think that's our howdy do's.
Well, before we get on to too much, I saw Adam throwing some stuff into the chat here, so he must have come up with a show idea while we weren't paying attention. A bit of sad news, two bits of sad news I want to cover. Dr. John, New Orleans legend, died of a heart attack yesterday, age 77. Whatever you number people want to work into that.
Count the ways. Isn't that
being
what
here in South, yeah, right. Being here in South Louisiana, of course. I mean, I hear about the man throughout my life. I've seen him different times on Bourbon Street and different festivals and whatnot. So, yeah, sad to hear that he definitely is gone. And closer to us here at Iron Realm Media, and definitely closer to me, my friend, the Tab 4 that filmed all my early videos on my YouTube channel, caught the sun or different times. It's gone. It won't come on no more. Yeah, we're gonna have a moment of silence. If I had 21 guns, we'd be shooting them. There we go. 21 ice salute. So yeah, it's gone, and I'm very sad. Very, very sad. Very sad. It's been through a lot, me and this Tab. And like I said, it definitely was part of my awakening here to the reality around us. So hopefully I got all the good stuff off of it and have saved it. Oh, and that's the other thing I was going to say about the YouTube purge is get these shows, any shows. I see like 2 handfuls of people in the chat whose shows are definitely in danger, as ours are. So, you know, get out there, get you an extra hard drive or 3, couple of 20 terabytes here or there, and get these shows somewhere safe for posterity's sake. There's been a lot of love, effort, and knowledge that has been put out on this fucking platform they're trying to take out from under us. So save this stuff.
So there is an option in Google. I'm trying to remember what it's called, but you can actually back up. Google will take all of your channel's content and zip them all into zip folders and upload them to your Google Drive. It's basically a one-click process to back it up.
Really?
Yeah, I've used it. I just
But to what extent will it actually save all of our freaking show content? I mean, I can't conceive of them actually doing that somewhere. That's
a
hefty piece of
Yeah, no, it did. I got like, it was like 40 different zip files because they're big. We have like 5-hour shows. So there were some big files, but yeah, they just zipped every single one of their shows and uploaded it to our Google Drive. So it's a great way to easily back up all your content without having to find a YouTube downloader and download each video individually. Hope you can get all the stuff.
Well, that'll definitely be my weekend project, apparently.
Look for Google Takeout is what it's called. Google Takeout, I think, and that will back up your channel. It'll zip up all your videos and send them to you. So for anybody wanting to back up their channel, or if you want to move stuff over to BitChute or DTube, I think there's a couple other smaller platforms now that YouTube is being censored and is in its death throes.
Can you select your whole content, Josh, and just say back it all up?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
See, that's sweet, because I've got a way. If you use VLC Player, if you just take your YouTube link, put it into OpenStream from that link, and then go to codec information, take that, open it up in a separate web page, you can then download it into VLC, and it will save it as a VLC or MP4 file. But that is... It's all right if you do it each week and you're disciplined, but I'm not.
I'm not either.
You know
That's
what I
I
mean?
was
So
doing,
if you
Adam,
can
with
do
my
what you're saying,
right? But I lose, the emphasis and forget. And
yeah.
there's 3 weeks I haven't done it, and it's like, this is so much stuff, and then you got to take it from, because the way I have to do it is on the phone, because that's where the only app that I still have works doing that. All the ones on my computer, they've shut them all down. So I didn't know about this little VLC trick though, so that may speed up my process. But I'm going to try this right now. I'm on the takeout, trying to work my way through it.
Are you on the takeout? Good. I was hoping it'd be easy to find. I remember I ran across it once a few months ago. So I'm sure we have some videos that'll need to be backed up once again. But that did seem to be a pretty quick and easy way to do it. Since I think that's going to be the way we're going. Look, I think we should try to mass exodus YouTube.
Right? Show them, like, fuck your platform. We don't need you to take it out from under us, bitches. We're out. There, I just dropped I'm in the Iron Room Media account. I was about to fix a few things for the show. So I just popped it into chat, and the guys of Iron Room Media, the Google Takeout link, and that's got the description of what you have to do in the process, and that's where you go. So
sweet. Thanks.
What is D Live? I don't know that one. Someone, it's No One's Flower. Hello, Nora. Just said, let's all go to D Live. I don't know that one. I know the one you mentioned, the BitChute one, and there's
BitChute, and I knew DTube, I think.
Maybe that's what maybe, I don't know.
At this point, I say we can just go take over Pornhub. Like we took over YouTube.
Right? Do it Horry Sheet style.
We'll just everybody upload all their flat earth stuff to Pornhub.
It's going to get that rating soon anyway, mate. Let's hit the dark web.
Sexy flat earth you got there.
Well, just imagine if YouTube didn't have conspiracy videos. What percentage of their viewership do you think they would lose if we had Conspiratube?
Right. Well, they're already pissing off the UFO community. They're pissing off name a community, the 9/11, the vaxxers. So, yeah, what the fuck's left? Cat videos? And here's how
kitty
you draw an anime character?
Yep. That's exactly right.
And here, I'm going to drop something and see if it'll explode. Idiot fuckery.
That's it.
All right, guys. How about we get on with some flat talk?
All right, Rob.
You get anxious, Rob?
You insist on a show.
I'm about to go to sleep.
Well, I'll probably shock you, Rob, because I bet you've missed something this week then. There was
I've missed something.
Yeah. There was an impromptu ball busters, and I normally do that on a Saturday night. It's Nathan and John's show. And a few other folks were invited, me included. But there was one on, I think it was Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? It was so amazing. I forgot the day. But there was the unveiling of the first ever official Flat Earth model. I don't know if you guys saw it.
No, this is news to me. I must have missed this too. Wow, an official flat Earth model, huh? Interesting. This should be good.
It's there. So it was presented by Nathan Oakley and Quantum Eraser.
Oh, even better. Excellent.
I said to him the day before, I said, have we all got to stick our tongue in our cheek as we're doing it? But basically they were making a point, and they did present a model. And like with a lot of things, there's a lot of layers to what those guys are doing. They're making points on many levels, and I think people hear the profanities. I chatted with Nathan in the week, and he was apologising for his language. I said it's like watching a East End Cockney movie. After the first 5 minutes, you ignore the effing and jeffing and just enjoy the film. But they've presented this flat Earth model, and the point of it is, like all models, they're models, even with the globe stuff, are only very useful in the specific area you're talking about. There isn't a globe model, an all-encompassing globe model. So what they've done is kind of taken this Google Earth Pro and pointed out the elevation heights, and they're taking some big distances and showing that the elevation height is exactly the same 500 miles away from the on a different shoreline to 1,000 miles away on a different shoreline. And the data they present is presented graphically from the tabulated data as a flat baseline, and it's been, I think, doing the ballers heads in this week. It's been quite good fun listening on a number of shows, listening to them poo-poo it and try and say it's nonsense. But I mean, the point being, well, initially for me, before we get onto geoids and stuff, is to ask you guys, how do you measure excuse me, how do you measure altitude? How do you measure how high something is? It's above sea level, and for me that's the defining point that puts us into, or the borders into their fantasy realm. Once again, that you have to pre-assume something. So I did a little bit of digging, and as far and I'm happy to be wrong here, but as far as I can see, on a flat Earth, sea level is the height something is above the sea. Right. But on a ball, it's mean sea level, which is the distance from the centre of the Earth, which, as I've listened to the ballers this week describe it with regards to measuring things the height above a basketball.
And just on that, John, Adam, did you know that Mount Everest, the peak of Mount Everest, isn't the furthest away from the center of their ball? There's two other mountains, one in Peru, one in Ecuador, which is further away from their center. Did you know that?
Well, that's probably at the heart of this presupposition bullshit, isn't it? How is that defined, Bob? It's defined because apparently its distance, these other mountains, they're slightly further away from some center of the Earth.
Because these two mountains are on the equator, I believe. So this guy that I heard the other day was talking about how high, you got the bulge on the equator because we're living on a pear. So the bulge in the on the equator is the reason why these mountains are a little bit further away from the center of the Earth than what.
Just
Mount
hold
Everest
it there,
is.
Rob. Guys, can anyone pull up I think the second picture I put in the chat, which should kind of show what Rob's talking about, which is with regards to the slightly oblate spheroid. It's a slight exaggeration, but it's what I put in the YouTube thumb.
The second one?
Yeah, just the geometric shape, not the potato.
Yeah, I'll just get them both.
Well, that should show the point you're making, Rob, with regards to that, which is really the point I'm making with regards to sea level as well. So if you're saying these mountains are on a more equatorial line, and therefore, even though their height above sea level is in the record books not as high as Everest, their associated difference between their altitude above sea level and their corresponding distance to the centre of the Earth makes them technically, in a ball-told world, bigger than Everest. Is that what you're saying, Rob?
Yeah. It is ridiculous, but yeah.
So that is the crux of the point I'm trying to raise now.
Are you going to bring that one up, Josh?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Is it a bad picture?
No, I think I got it.
And if you remember this morning before we come on live, that's what I was actually going to talk about. Remember I said I forgot what I was going to say, Adam? That's what I was going to bring up.
Have you got the other one first, Josh?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Sorry. That's it.
No, it's all right.
We'll come to that, because that's obviously a lot more complex than what we're about to show first, in terms of just grasping the concept, which I think is important.
That looks legit.
That's potato Earth, isn't it? Oh, it's gone.
Sorry, I got it right. Here. I was just making sure the right one was up. And that's the one you wanted?
Yeah, it's cool. Can you zoom in a little touch? Okay. So if we look at the top model, that's what we all assume is the ball Earth model. And the radius of the sphere is the same. Doesn't matter whether it shows on those standard coordinates or whether it's any other, A is always the same. The distance from the centre to any point on the edge is exactly the same, and that kind of makes a bit of sense. And for me, in the standard ball model, it allows you to equate and create a 0 point line on the Google Earth Pro thing, where sea level is at least mathematically derivable by subtracting the radius, A in this case. So it's defined by a distance as A plus the height above sea level of A minus A, which is bullshit, but that's how it's perfectly acceptable mathematically for me to allow that. And in the standard model, that's okay. But what Rob was saying there is, look, if you go towards your slightly oblate spheroid, then things change. As in, if you squish it just in one direction, just from the top, You can see there on the left-hand model, the left and rights kind of stay the same. There is a difference in any of the others, but on those three fundamental axes they stay the same. But you can then squish it in another direction and have completely squished. But I think in terms of the ball model, we're looking at the left-hand model to be the oblate spheroid, maybe not as defined, but even so it's still as described. There is a differential in the radius between the X and the Y and the Z, and that's the reasoning, Rob, for if you look at your equatorial mountains, it's a lot further from sea level to the centre of the earth than it is for something that's much nearer the North or South Pole.
I think we all understand that, don't we?
Cool. So with that in mind then, if we go to the next picture, which is the supposed geoid, which is produced based on, I think this is what Bob showed on Globebusters, his gravitometer. So apparently this gravitometer has been, however they've defined it, this geoid I think is based on the relative gravity levels measured around the world, hence potato Earth. Can you swap it, Josh?
Oh, see, I thought I did. I thought it was already swapped.
Nice.
All right. There. Like that.
Okay. So that's then the relative gravity. Now, there was a point in the week on one of Nathan's shows, it was one of the Flat Earth debates, and I think it was when Planar Walk was getting absolutely toe tagged this week, and I think he mentioned something about wavy Earth, and people really got, and I think this is probably what he was referring to with regards to when we talk about sea level, and we can almost, you can apologetically or with a level of cognitive dissonance start to accept that maybe the Earth is a perfect sphere and therefore that curvature is so big we can't see it. What this kind of says to me is we have a wavy Earth in their ultimate model of the actual true shape, and if things are going to conform gravimetrically with Newtonian gravity, whatever, then they're going to conform to this, and we would see this kind of potato Earth with the water conforming relatively to it, because the higher peaks have got a lot more mass behind them, between them and the centre of the Earth. So if this is relative sea level, then it'd be all over the shop, wouldn't it? Both visually, but there was one little bit that I made a point on the Globebusters, and just to end on, to kind of exemplify the point. If we just were to take the standard ellipsoid model in the previous picture, which I said is exaggerated, but if you take this real data, you have two radius, and the polar radius, so from the centre to the North or South Pole, is described as 6357 kilometres, and the equatorial radius is described as 6378 kilometres, which is a differential of 21 kilometres or 13 miles. So if you were to put your Google Earth Pro cursor on there, and in any way the data that you're reading was relative to this geoid we see here, or the ellipsoid previously presented, it would have to encompass this data. Now, either they're subtracting, as I said earlier, 6371, which I think we've highlighted is not 6371 anywhere, and they would have to have a definitive number for that to encapsulate this flat plane, or it's not taken into account at all, and actually the data is just flat data which matches observations across a flat plane, and in no way, if you try to backwork it, could it ever match data encapsulated based on sea level being whatever distance minus the distance from that point to the center of the earth. That data could never encapsulate or even approximate to real life. I think that's my rant over with.
Sorry, I'm still absorbing. I'm still taking it all in.
Did it make any sense, Josh?
Yeah, I think it did. I mean, I get what you're saying.
Obviously, this potato here is a massive exaggeration on what the mountains are.
So that big deep blue hole, that's where the moon got carved out back in the day when it collided, just chunked that right up out of there.
The implication
Oh, look, somebody in
there.
the chat asked, who is it? I just saw it scroll up as I read. Why is the moon not a potato? It has gravity, says Sketch C.
That's a really good point, and it has a lot less mass to pull its mass into a more perfect spheroid.
It's probably got something to do with that 200 tons of water
sphere.
it loses every year, probably.
It's because it's in our atmosphere, guys. And
all those moonquakes with that.
But yeah, that was a bit of a rant, but I don't know what you guys think on what. To me, it's a presuppositional bullshit that actually, if you bother to look at the data, you can't then back up with the presupposition, other than realistically meaning that every level is taken from the premise of sea level, as in we've been and we've measured it from that level. It's not, as it's purported to support the ball model, a distance from the centre of the earth, which, put simply, is nonsense, unless there are any ballers that have got a sentence, distance to the earth.
Bible
So at school, did you ever hear about anything like this, where the Earth was a little bit off shape, and Everest wasn't the highest point on the Earth?
Not.
You never ever heard anything like that. Has this all come out because Neil deGrasse Tyson said it was a pair, as I just saw on chat? Someone just posted that question sort of on, but ever since, do they start ducking for cover and changing a few things around because he said that?
I'd never heard that particular one that you're talking about in terms of real height, but I had heard stuff in terms of actual peak height, that they were in the abyssal plains in the Atlantic or Pacific somewhere, mountains that were technically higher in their real physical mass on the bottom of the ocean than Everest was from sea level up into the sky. I'd heard that kind of stuff, and again that was the kind of strange things that when you then look at that, the abyssal plains, you think, well, they're flat. So there were odd things, but I'd never heard it used as an excuse to presuppose the supposition that A, it's a ball, and B, that ball and the oblate spheroid, because sometimes they play it up, don't they, this nature? And let me just get me the numbers again. But it's an oblate spheroid. It's slightly chubbier at the bottom. It's this, it's that, it's the other. But and then they play it down. And the figures I had was actually the differential is less than 1/3%. But as I said, in reality, that is equivalent to 13 miles. So, I think it's a game, like with a lot of stuff. You know, can you have pressure next to a vacuum? If you'll argue whether space is you know, they can go to the moon, never mind space is real, they're happy. If you're arguing this kind of thing, it's the same thing. You're living in a false paradigm where they're happy to keep you because you're not actually arguing the real point.
It's kind of like Bible literalist says in chat, math attracts math.
That's pretty good.
I like it.
I love it. I need that. There's a shirt coming. I'll see it in the future.
I'm telling you, yep. Mass attracts maths. That's good.
Did you have the S on the end as well?
What? It should, shouldn't it? We don't study mathematic.
Good. I love you.
All right, can I get on to what I was going to talk about?
Just a second, Rob. There's a few things I wanted to go over first. I'm just joking. There's nothing. Yeah, let me pull up your picture.
No, I've got it all. It's all right.
All right, sweet. You sit back and listen.
Before you start, though, Rob, just a second. Yeah. Has anyone seen Ranty in chat? About?
I have not.
I have not. No, not yet. If he was here, he was earlier and I missed it.
I was just going to try and grab him because we're going to try and put a little bit of meat on the bones, but I just wonder if there was an expert about. But I think we need to keep an eye on chat just for feedback because I like this one. I think it has a bit of... We've not done the final maths yet, have we, Rob? But
no, so we're back to reality now. Get off that ball and we're back to reality. This is an observation of our flat earth to me, and it should be to everybody else as well. So a couple of years ago when I first bought my camera, I took some photos of islands. That's what I did for the first few months, and took videos and all sorts of stuff. Posted them on Twitter, and I keep on getting feedback that I hope everyone can see my my cursor, but Hinchinbrook Island's up here. I'm down here. I'll zoom in a minute. But this island here is 100 odd kilometers away from me, and I've had a gutful of when you say they do the maths. Now you can see the island from where I was. You can and they work out their maths. You should be able to see it because it's 3,000 feet high and you're 100 kilometers away. So therefore, yes, you can see it. Sorry, I can see the whole thing. Obviously not completely the bottom, but because of the mirroring and all the atmospheric problems we have above the water, all the density of the air, and you can't see the bottoms, but you can see that island just about in full. Now, we'll work out the math in a minute, but I'll zoom in to where I was standing with my camera about 2 years ago. So I'm here. This is the local port. And I'll go to the highest peak of Hinchinbrook Island. And if you can see on my bottom right-hand side, you can see the levels of how high the peaks are of this mountain. Now, try and find the highest one. Here we go, right there. So if you look down the bottom right, you've got 920 meters. That's the highest peak of this, and it's close enough to 3,000 feet. So if we go to my photo, this is Bay Rock here. Bay Rock is 16 or 17 kilometers away. Now this is the peak in question right here. Does that look like that I'm only seeing the very top 20 meters or 30 meters via the math, the very top 20 or 30 meters of this mountain. Or it's an island, actually, but it's so close to the coast. It's only like a couple of kilometers off the coast of just up north there. If you you can see the sort of a bit of a channel that goes through there, so it's nearly attached to the mainland. It's so close. You can nearly, on low tide, you could probably walk across there. That's how how close it is.
Can I have some numbers on that? I think I did it earlier. I think you measured it to that peak as 107 kilometers, giving a geometric drop of 0.8998 kilometers, so 900 meters. And I think you said it was like 900 and something. So there's obviously a little bit of observer height, etc. But reality being, is not much more than the top you should be seeing of that thing. And I don't think your camera was pointing down, was it? Is that where you took it from?
Are you there, Rob? Did we
Oh,
lose?
sorry, I was on mute. So there's me standing there. That's about 2 or 3 meters off the water level, plus my 3 feet of tripod that I had going. So, if you want to add 12 feet, 15 feet, something like that. I didn't have the tape measure out to bloody measure from the water to exactly my camera height.
What's that text in the water when you were zoomed in? I mean, I'm guessing the difference between the green and the blue off the coast is just the depth of the water, yeah? And it just drops off suddenly right there? Yeah. But am I seeing text? Do I see words there in that green part of the water?
Yeah, 2019 Google is written in there.
Gotcha. Watermarks. Yeah. Makes sense. Literally watermarks.
and I can prove that is Hinchinbrook Island. So we've got, that's Bay Rock. Bay Rock's that's about 17 kilometers away. That is, I'd say, 20 to 30 meters high at most. Now, if we go back there, that's Bay Rock there. That's it. So to the left, the line of sight is just to the left. And just to the left, you've got Hinchinbrook Island. Yeah, so that's all sort of proof. When I took these photos, I did not even realise that was Hinchinbrook Island. I thought that was a way closer island called Akron Island, which is a lot smaller, but probably about 30 or 40 kilometres away. And that's what I originally thought it was. And then I couldn't believe when someone down the port said to me, that's in Hinchinbrook Island. I went and did my math, and I couldn't believe what I had photographed, and I'd done some video of it as well. I couldn't believe what I was filming. I just couldn't believe I could see it. No, and none of it. Well, sorry. There's one peak that is 920 meters. So the top 20, 30 meters of that mountain should be able to see. But as you can see, that's the whole thing.
Well, I'm really confused now, Rob, because I've gone to Metabunk. I thought I'll just put it into Metabunk with that height. So I've put in 107 kilometers viewer height, right, and all that standard refraction. Refracted horizon 8 kilometers, whatever. Refracted drop 770 meters. Refracted hidden 651 meters. But then it says in red underneath, note, not accurate for observations over water very close to the horizon. So it sounds like Mick says this is a bag of shit. It's no use. Don't use it. It's not of no value.
Or if the humidity in the air is above 50%, or the temperature is above 47 degrees.
Or the day of the week's got a Y in it.
The best time for me to see all these mountains and these islands and stuff is in winter, when the humidity is low. So refraction would be at its lowest. What I find is if if I'm doing it in summertime when it rains a lot, I can still see it. I can still see them, but they're just very, 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 very light. It rains a lot up there too, so there's a lot of humidity in summertime, and you just can't see through it. Even though the globers want you to see all the way to China if it was flat, you can't. All right, no matter what you want.
Well, they think they can see their own ass with my telescope, so of course you can see China on the flat Earth.
Yeah. So even this little Bay Rock, which is only 30 meters, that's 10 miles away, which is, take my height out, so you're probably looking at about 40 or 50 feet that should be hidden. But you can see that this is all that's probably the real level. I'm a terrible drawer. That's probably the thing, but you can see that's mirroring there to there. That's mirroring. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can
Even
see
the
the mirror
ends.
line.
See that see how it drops off, and you got this straight edge here. It's dropping off. Yeah.
Before
So,
we
no,
get
that's-
on
that's
to
all-
the rock, Rob, if we let me just draw something on the screen. If you look at the because we did a little couple of numbers, didn't we, with regards to the view we're taking, and you said here that the peak. Oh, wait, put it back. Put your picture back, youth. That's it. You've got the peak height there, and we said that's like 900 odd meters.
Yeah.
And we went down a few bits and bobs, didn't we? And I think around about here, I think we were looking at land around the other side, and that was about 200 meters. And there was points along here that we maybe identified, maybe didn't, at 700 and 500 meters.
Well, I'll just go over here, and if everyone can just watch the bottom, the meterage as I move the cursor. As I move the cursor to the right, it drops off dramatically. Yeah, we're down to
6, 5, 4,
that's down to
3,
200
2, 1.
meters right there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to see any of that. This is all flat land through sort of here. So these are sort of mountain ranges.
So if you just put the
But yeah, that drops off dramatically through there.
if you just put the picture back for us a sec, Rob. So as we look at that, then I think what we can say from that is we're seeing quite a bit of topography and quite a bit of difference in height, and possibly from the top circle to the bottom circle, 9 to 200 meters. So maybe 700 meters, maybe half that. Who cares? But the argument that the baller would give us is what we're seeing here is less than 100 meters. So I think we can ignore that we're not seeing just the top 100 meters of the mountain. It has reduced in sizes in the distance, and actually we're seeing a much smaller scale version of the whole mountain, and some of these peaks are semi-identifiable at first glance, but we're clearly seeing a significant level of height observed from the mountain. Certainly not down to the base, because as Rob said, we've got this clear mirroring line here. So who knows what's underneath that, and how that's affected, and maybe different, maybe up here somewhere, you know what I mean, or down here, who knows for the mountain. But I think it's quite clear, Rob, in terms of the critique you'd had, that we're not seeing just a small tippy toppy of the mountain.
Yeah. What my whole point was when they come back, they say, yeah, you should be able to see it because it's 900 meters and the curvature is 800 meters. Just throwing some numbers out there.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
So we're not
but
seeing
you're
the top
not
100
only
meters.
seeing the very top, you're seeing the whole thing. And just another one while I think about it. When I first bought my camera, I was standing in this exact same position because this is where I used to go all the time. You could just to see all around the place. And so you got Bay Rock here, and just off to the right is Magnetic Island. There was a jet skier coming round the corner. I didn't know what it was. I zoomed in on it, took a photo, and as it got closer and closer and closer to me over the next 20 minutes, I realized it was a jet ski. A jet ski which is 4 to 5 feet off the water.
I remember that.
I took a photo of this person, and you could make out the shape. I haven't got a P900. I had my camera zooms in about 60, but you could still make out the shape. You could still make out the shape of the jet ski. Now he was, say, 15 kilometers away when I took that photo of him. You can make out the shape of the jet ski. Now, if that doesn't make you think, geez, that's a bit strange, isn't it? That's maybe they have got something. If you don't honestly think that in your own heart, then there's something wrong with you. So that's probably all I got. I just wanted to point out that when they say, yeah, you should be able to see that, but not in full like this one.
And it seems like we should be able to just have tens of thousands of these observations, because really this is the crux of it. Yeah, the Earth is, as Nathan would say, obviously and observably flat. We can look and see that we're able to see way further than we should if we live on the ball that we're told. So we can see that it's not what we were told. We can look and see it. There it is. You can come up with excuses as to why maybe that's not what it is, but if Rob is videoing this guy on a Sea-Doo out there jacking around, then it's obvious that it's not down behind the curve. And I say, if we could just flood it with thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of these most obvious, basic, simple observations, and make the ballers try to attack it, make them defend their observations that it's a ball. Look, here it is.
Like, people call you crazy. People say stuff to you, and then you show them that. They make up all sorts of excuses on why you should be able to see that. See that there, your math's wrong. How can you prove that that's where he was? I don't care if I need to prove it to you. I know in my own heart where the jet ski was, where I was standing. I know the maths is correct. I know it. I don't need to. I know it in my own heart. What I'm watching, what I've seen, and the maths. If you don't believe me, that's up to you. Go and buy yourself a camera like I did, and prove it to yourself as well. That's what I did.
Exactly. And then that's exactly what I'm saying. If we could get tens of thousands of photos and observations like this, and then make them defend it, because if it's a ball, we should be able to look at tens of thousands of similar observations that line up with some sort of calculator, right? We should be able to say, well, look, if the ball's this size, we'll lose this much, and here it is, right? And do it consistently. But you can't. There's the limits that we're achieving should not be possible on a ball. And if we were on a ball, then those limits would be pretty clear.
And I have shown a lot of people that I work with, and I've shown them that photo, and they've got really no excuse. I suppose they got no explanation for. Most of them don't believe the math. That's probably where it right comes down to. If you explain someone the math and they go, nah, that can't be right, where the Earth is way bigger than that. The Earth is way bigger than that because you can see so far in their own eyes. They think, look at the size of the Earth because they can see so far. But when you actually get down to reality and work out what the math is for their ball, the Earth isn't that big. The curve actually drops off quite significantly, pretty quickly.
Yep.
But we don't see that in reality. So in reality, people, that's what you got to look at, what we actually seeing. And a jet ski from 15 kilometers away, And I'm being nice at the 15 kilometers too, because he was coming around where that Bay Rock is at 17 kilometers. So I'm being nice there too. I'd probably go back to 17 or 18 kilometers when I first saw him. I just couldn't make out what it was. Yeah. So, and that's another thing too. It's if you measure something that's 16 kilometers away, and I'm just throwing out a figure I haven't really, and it's 80 feet. If you go out one more kilometer, it might be 86, 87, 88 feet, and then the 20 kilometer mark, it might be 100 feet. It drops off so fast. So that's reality. That's reality. Is how fast that ball should drop off, but it doesn't. You can't explain that. If you're a baller, you can't explain that. It's impossible. Possible for them. They can't get. Yeah. All right. That's my rant too.
That's good stuff, Rob.
Can I just stick a little bit more on that? Because
we're done.
No, there's more maths.
Well, we've definitely moved on then.
And then that'll attract more maths, and then that'll attract more.
It's just a little bit to add on what Rob said with regards to, particularly with regards to the curvature drop, and I won't go into too much detail, but Rob, if you put the picture back up, we've got, what did you call it? Rock Island?
Bay Rock.
Bay Rock. Bay Rock. So Bay Rock, right, is, what did you say?
Are you having a go at me?
What are you on about, mate? What are you on about? You mean Bay Rock?
Yeah, Bay Rock, mate. Yeah.
Bay Rock? It's a question, isn't it? You've got it at 17 kilometres, haven't you? And I think you said it was about 20 metres above sea level, the peak. And as we said earlier, the other place is 107 and roughly 900 metres high. So the point I'm going to make here is it's quite obvious. There's a lot of a baller will always go, you know, the reason we've got obstruction, the reason for that image is it's Earth curve. It's Earth curve, it's Earth curve. And I think we've addressed that first and foremost in that first bit of analysis with the analysis of the mountain itself and the relative heights that are presented on the topography of the mountain, that there's more height on the mountain than there is supposed to be. But if we look at the other one, what I quickly did from the angular size of height above sea level, and this is obviously perverse, and it comes to my point really that there are a multitude of factors, not just curvature, that accommodate for a picture above sea level, the atmospherics, and also the relative distances of the two objects that we're observing. And here we've got at 107 kilometres, it gives us an angular size of 0.48192, and the corresponding small island would give us 0.06, which is, what's that, about an eighth of the size. Maybe if we draw that line back in, it may be as roughly an eighth of the size. There's going to be some variance, and I think that would be due to the, previously mentioned factors that will then also subvert the image somewhat. But it does show first and foremost that things get smaller in the distance, because if that one at 17 kilometres is only 20 metres high and the other one's 900, it's certainly not what's that? And
you can obviously see the mirroring there as well, Adam. Like,
yeah,
there's not, you can't see under the mountain, under the little Bay Rock there, can you? So there's obviously some mirroring going on there.
Yeah, there's mirage. You don't know what that's doing to the.
Yeah. So
and then you've also got the level of compaction of the image at the lower observation angles where all the data's getting compressed. So, all those factors have to be taken into account. But again, you know, what this picture doesn't show is, as we mentioned, as you mentioned, that the rate of drop gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
And if you get your calculator, it's quite amazing. You know, if you go from 30 kilometers or 30 mile to 31 mile, it's massive. That extra mile is massive.
Yeah.
So if you can see something that's 30 mile and it goes out 31 mile and you can still see it, that 30 to 31 miles is massive.
Yeah.
It could be 40. It could be another 30 or 40 feet. I'm just throwing a number out there again, but it could be huge. You know what I mean? And I think that's, I haven't really heard many people talk about that, but it's huge. It's huge, that extra 1 mile or 30 to 32 mile. It's ginormous. Just that extra could be a whole ship height, just for 1 mile at that distance.
Yeah, it's important to point out it's not, as you said there, it's not 30 to 31 miles isn't 1 mile, therefore 8 inches difference from the observer. It's the differential between 30 miles and 31 miles between the observer, and that's 31 squared time, you know, and the whatever that is. Do you know what I mean? But it's magnified significantly. So when you then get to 100 miles, 100 and 101, it gets even bigger and bigger and bigger. That 1 mile difference, as the distance gets bigger, the differential gets bigger as well. So that needs considering, and it isn't, because we observe a flat world and our brain tries its best to put it on a ball, but you know, every time you pick apart bits, you realize how much dissonance you have yourself.
No worries. All right. Well, thanks for that.
Is that your answering the Aussie ballers for this week?
Yeah. I might. I'll bring up the next week. I'll show the jet skier. It's on my camera. I haven't got the right cords to hook it up to the computer this morning. Otherwise, I would have showed the would have showed that. But I can assure you, it's real, because I showed him. He come all the way close to me. He's probably 5 or 6 kilometers away at his closest, and I could make him out with my naked eye that it was a jet ski, because I could see him bloody bouncing across the bloody waves. So I went, oh, gee whiz! And when I got back and had a look at the camera, I could make out the shape of him. Yeah, quite amazing. All right, Josh, what do you reckon we is it possible to go for a break, and then we might, does anyone in chat want to jump in with us this morning and have a bit of a talk to us? Interested in if anyone wants to do that.
Yeah, I'll pull the chat up right now. So yeah, what we got with Zoom allows to connect with a cell phone, and for convenience, what they do is they have a phone number for what I can only imagine is pretty much every country. That way you can connect locally. So I guess if what you want to do is come join in the conversation, hang out with us and chit chat for a little bit, just throw in the chat the country from which you will be calling, and I will then add that number. I'll just throw it right there in chat. Like I'm looking right here. I'll just go. I have Australia. I have 2 Australian numbers, a Canadian number, 3 Argentinians, 2 Austria, Bahrain, Belgium, Bulgaria, Brazil, the Czech Republic, Croatia, France, Germany. Lots of from Germany, Ireland, Hungary, Italy. I mean, look, I've got a whole list of countries here. So if you want to join in and join the Zoom call, just drop us whatever country you'll be calling from, and I will be sure to include a phone number that you can call to join in. Or if you prefer, drop in your email address, and I can send you an invitation via email as well. Though I don't know we necessarily need to take a break. We've not.
I wouldn't mind another coffee.
Well, then get the F out. Go get yourself another coffee.
We'll do. Be back shortly.
Perfect. Unless you other fellas wanted to take a break. Walter, how you doing? You might have to leave early. I think I saw you say somewhere.
I don't know. I think all that's kind of gone awry. The weather here has taken a funk turn, and we're not really. I don't know what we're doing. If that happens, I'll let you know.
Right on.
It's all about reluctantly having to get a new fondle slab because my phone was already taxed with things I'm doing, and so at least I could use the tablet as take some of the weight off the phone that's already taxed with all the videos I take on a constant basis, plus the gaming that makes it run hot and, all that fun stuff. So, but like I said, I don't think we want to go fight the weather. And I don't know. If it happens, it'll happen. Then I will say my goodbyes. But as far as a break, I mean, certainly that might give the chat a chance to figure out who is going to come hang out with us and post whatever appropriate information. I actually snuck away for a second and grabbed a coffee because I was in dire need of one, but everyone else might need one as well, or ice freshening for their drink, or gurgler of choice, or whatever the hell they're doing with their day. So yeah, surely put a song on. I know a couple that we have that are pretty awesome.
Hells yeah, we can do that. I can go into chat and I will drop a couple numbers to join just here in the US. Ought to make it nice and simple. So if anybody
85 people on the panel. I don't know. Is that how we're going to do this? I thought we might get more like on a one-on-one kind of.
You want to do one at a time?
Well, I mean,
I can just pull up the flat line.
Just without a Jimmy. If it's like,
well, Zoom is not Hangout.
I know, but if the number's in this chat, then any idiot that's not a friend of the show might grab it and pop in here, and we might have a snipe situation. Is what my concern is.
Well, I am the only one that could remove people from the call, I think. And we have the green room, so we have that layer of protection. If they want to pop in uninvited, they can just sit there in silence. I don't give a shit. They don't get to join the call without my permission.
Fan of Better Call Saul. Jimmy McGill, Better Call Saul. Shout out. No. Anyway, I guess, yeah, go. I'm, just being overly protective, I guess, of the family.
Well, we can do flatline. I don't care.
No, not that. It's just if someone wants to get in, then let us know and send us your email, and we'll email you a link, kind of thing. Is what I was thinking more.
Have we got any acceptors in the?
And they might even want to come talk to us.
Does anyone want to jump in anyway?
Hell no.
We might be getting blown off of the air.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't want to know us.
I mean, Rob is here. That definitely cuts the audience. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, don't be fussy, Walt. If they want to abuse us or whatever, or be nice to us, either way, it'll be good.
All right, come on in then. Come on in. If the family's good with it, I'm good with it. I'll stop being the overprotective dad.
All right, well, I'll narrow this down to just one number. Available in the U.S. Anybody wants? I'll put it out there. If you want to call in from another country, just put said country in chat. I'll drop a number from there too.
It's scary. Shout out Ace McLeod first, by the way. I didn't say that. You always have to say that, right?
I think so, regardless of when you get there.
No, I just saw that he had to get a new tab for the same reason. So, brothers of the media attachment.
So if there's anybody in Turkey that's listening to Have No Sphere, there's a call-in number for the people in Turkey as well.
That would be awesome, actually.
Slovenia, Slovakia, South Africa.
They're going to be useful for the tour later this year, mate. Man.
Right?
Ian, It should be free. If you're calling from a cell phone, I think it should be free. That's why I'm trying to break it down by country. Because as long as you're calling within your home country, you should have free cell service.
That makes sense. Now, don't hold us accountable if your cell phone bill shoots through the roof. We deny all.
Sounds like a pyramid scam.
Revoke. Right. Exactly.
I'll tell you what. I will drop a UK number in there because that's at least a little more useful than a number from Turkey. And yeah, I think it should be free. That's the only reason I wanted to try it this way, because the flatline is free if you're in the US, but it's not necessarily across the plane. So I'll be curious.
All right, I'm stepping out of this. I'm going to get coffee and ice. I will not be party to this scheme. I feel Josh is building. He's unemployed. He's
just calling out people in Turkey.
What? What's that?
Well, I'm not dialing numbers. No, that number is for our Zoom call. I guess I'm calling out ballers in Turkey. Yeah. All you jive
awesome.
Turkey ballers in Turkey, got something to say to me? There's the number.
I love it.
I bet you ain't got the
Right. Where's the Vatican City digits? Exactly. Drop the Canadian call box number for Alan.
I can do that.
I just tried the number and it says you need the meeting ID followed by hash.
Oh, that's where it starts to get. Now, I don't know. Does that? I don't know. I'm stepping away. I will not accept responsibility for this.
I just thought I might add this to the jet ski.
Yeah, that's definitely the jet ski.
There's his head, shoulders,
Knees and toes.
I found it.
Knees and toes.
Righto.
Hey, is anybody else having trouble getting onto YouTube?
Oh, shit. It happened. It finally happened.
My buddy said he went to YouTube and it's nothing but a white screen over and over. He can't get it to load.
YouTube period.
Yeah, for YouTube period.
I'm on our channel with chat going, so shout out to Walt in chat, right? Yeah.
It might be something that his one. I don't know.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
All right, there's the meeting ID. Anybody that wants to call in, it's got to enter it in. I guess there it is. I've never done this. I've never had to call in.
I don't know. I know sometimes I see that number popping around and I figure it has to do something with like allowing folks in and out and not keeping the riffraff under control. So now that
I think the meeting ID just sort of identifies this room.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That allows people to come in and out of this meeting because it's the one for this particular call. And
I think that's right. Yeah. But we still have the waiting room on.
And we have the waiting room, the green room, if you want to get all fancy and media friendly.
Well, all right then. I guess we'll take a little break and see if and when anybody wants to pop in.
Absolutely, good idea.
Sweet. Well,
I got some new Mandela stuff as well, effect stuff. After the break, we want to talk Mandela effect.
I think that'd be good.
Cool. Is this personal or genetic? General? General? Good Lord. Or is it genetic?
Oh, it's just something I saw last night.
I'm using general forever now.
Yeah.
It's all about the emphasis.
That's right. You got to hit them syllables just right. Generally.
Syllables.
Are we going for a break then? If we are, I'm going to say we've got to come back with a bit of rainbow as well afterwards. That's not.
Oh yeah, rainbow, absolutely.
Zach's rainbow, which I thought was cool.
What? I love Richie Blackmore. I didn't know you guys were fans.
Music, that is, isn't it?
So, Ed, are you going to play Gravity? What are we doing?
If you don't mind not knowing what's going off, I can certainly.
Oh, that's like my daily state of existence. So go right ahead.
Yeah. I just need to write a little note on the palm of my hand, reminding myself that I don't know what's going off. That way I don't just start talking randomly thinking we're sitting in silence. I have to remember we're on a break. We're on a break. I can't just start talking. But yeah, sounds good to me.
Absolutely. Go, and I'm going to go away.
Well, it's been a while since I've done this, so you'll have to bear with.
I don't know. It seems like Walt and I were talking over it not too long ago.
Now on about me sharing a YouTube video. Give me a second. Give me a second.
Go ahead. Because our 30 days is up for our demonetization. We can officially reapply. We've actually been able to reapply for like a week now.
Really? That went by quick.
Yeah, it did go by really quick, seems like. But the question is, do we?
Fuck down. Please, YouTube, can I have a nickel?
Oh, what have we earned? Nothing. Next to nothing.
Next to nothing. For 3 years worth of work. Yeah, next to nothing. 4 years, I guess, at this point.
As far as replies to our inquiries about what the fuck is really going on and why we're being hassled, no, I haven't received one word yet.
Did you ask them about why they are saying our content is spam?
Yeah, I did.
Right.
And they just keep referring me to the generic page of bullshit, generic crap. I have yet to get a real person answer me.
We could just flood YouTube. We'll just spam links back and forth.
Well, I think once we get the dust settled on somewhere else to land, that's pretty much what we should do, is just say, fuck this and burn the bridge, because that's what they're trying to do.
Man, there is such a need to replace YouTube. I cannot believe it's not being done yet.
Well, isn't that what Matt was supposed to be working on when he came on the show a few months back? And that was his plan for his whole overarching activist site, I thought. And I could be mixing up 2 or 3 guests in that whole thing I just said. So
yeah, I think maybe you were, or I'm more confused.
Yeah, let me go look. Hang on.
So
well, I'm filled, Josh. I'm filled. I'm ready when you are.
All right. Well, then I just want to mention real quick that our Iron Rail Media was demonetized, 5 weeks ago, 37-ish days ago, apparently because we continually put out repetitive content. Believe it or not. Maybe because we only talk flat earth, which isn't even necessarily true, because we're talking Mandela effect on the other side of this break. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. If we're using the same thumbnails in several of our shows.
No, they're different.
Well, they are now. In the past, if you look back at our list of videos, you'll see a lot of them are different or the same anyway.
But what the?
Yeah, look, I'm right there with you. I mean, the titles are different, the descriptions are different, the content is different. I can't imagine they're saying that this is the same material that we just keep spamming out week after week. I don't get it. But yeah, everybody does repetitive content. Chatbox Travels in Chat says, and yeah, you would think that wouldn't necessarily be an issue. Right, we're not necessarily a big enough channel that you can.
Actually, YouTube creator channels that I watched early on and still occasionally have come through my feed because I was watching them extensively early on when we were trying to figure out this whole YouTube roller fucking coaster. Talk about doing this whole A/B testing of videos. You make a video with this screen and this blah 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 and put it out. Then you do a different version with this thumbnail and this title, and it's the same fucking content. If that's not spamming, what is. And that's content creators who make money telling people how to make content for YouTube, that are telling people to do this.
Yeah. I mean, there's
telling us to do this.
Yeah, they have templates for thumbnails. Make your thumbnails like this. Everybody make your thumbnails like this to get more traffic. People, I mean, yeah, I do not get it at all. I was on the radio this past Wednesday. They wanted me to come on and talk about the Loch Ness Monster and aliens. And luckily it didn't stay there too terribly long. They did want to end up talking about some flat earth stuff. But one of the co-hosts there, Tony Colombo, had his daughter in studio. And she's like, I don't know, 12 or 13 years old, just like a preteen teenage girl, right? So having her in studio was kind of a big deal because apparently she's like a teenage girl and she's all moody and doesn't appreciate how cool her dad's job is and doesn't really give a shit. So to have her come in just to hang out on a Paranormal Wednesday as they were going to go see a baseball game or something. I don't know exactly why she was there, but she is really into conspiracy theories too. That's one of the things that she and her dad, Tony, have in common is they share this fascination with the paranormal. A lot of her friends in school also share this fascination with the paranormal. They've got their favorite YouTuber, and he likes to cover some paranormal stuff. I don't remember what the fuck his name is now, but I mean, there's a lot of people watching conspiracy videos, whether it's Flat Earth or 9/11 or whatever it is. There's a lot of people. In the past 10 years, we've seen conspiracy theories pretty much become mainstreamed. I mean, people, whether they follow them or have researched them very much, they are aware of them, which is a lot more than it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we were all learning this stuff basically by ourselves. Now, you can go out and talk to the general public, and they will at least have heard of the things that we have studied. They may not know what the heck you're talking about, but they will at least be familiar. They will know that there's a place to go to find this subject matter. So if we took all the content creators that are getting shut down and just went somewhere else, I think if we could do it en masse that way,
right,
the people would follow.
And on our show back in March 5th, we have Matt Landman on his different things he talked about, the clothing that blocks the 5G, which is somewhere on one of the GoFundMe's here, probably in our links. On his actual activists.com site, I believe that's part of what he was talking about, was trying to set up a place for basically being the truth tube that we're all bitching about we need to have. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure if I go back and listen to that show, that's going to be one of the things we talk about with him. So I'm going to get in touch with Matt and find out.
That'd be a good idea. Maybe we do need to do that. And it looks like we did have somebody actually join. So now we can either actually take the break since Adam's already got it lined up. Why don't we do that since we don't want to waste his time?
Yes, do that, please. And I won't run now for sure. I've already sucked this coffee down.
Awesome. Hoosier is waiting for us in the green room, in the waiting room. So on the other side of the break, we'll pull him out and add him to the call. Cool. And the great thing about doing it through Zoom like this is we can have, I think, pretty well any number of people, where the flat line is limited to one person at a time. If you want to come and talk to Hoosier, or if you want to come and talk to one of us, you can join as well. So we're going to go ahead and take a break. Adam, play that funky music, white boy.
Let's drop it.
And then just hit play.
Oh, shit. I didn't press play. I was wondering what was happening. Sorry, guys. Let's have a bit of gravity, eh?
I'm sick of you, Adam. Why don't you just quit?
I'll do it next week. All down to you, bro.
We're up pretty high. Our heads are almost in the clouds, and their feet are chained to the ground with their chains of misery. They've got a hold of me. They won't let go of me. They might have gravity on their side, but something's pulling us high. Got the potential to fly. Oh yeah, don't let them be what holds you back from this one incredible chance. They're lucky to have had a glance at you. Oh, you defy gravity. You defy gravity. You defy gravity. Yeah, yeah. At you, oh, you defy gravity.
I still dig that.
I was
So I don't see
I was
any
on mute just because I always sing along. I can't help it. Whilst we're waiting for the guys to come back, I mentioned to you in pre-show that I was a bit alarmed that transgenderism has creeped into the flat earth this week. And you know, I respect all the work he's done because he's a PhD guy, but I don't know, Josh. Like, he's always sounded, he must be mid-op or something, but he's always sounded like Dr. John Dee's always sounded to me a bit like Paul on the plane. But clearly there's been some kind of surgery, and don't you reckon he sounds a bit like Karen B now, post-op?
I thought he even had a different accent once before. I thought he was English at one point, was he not? And then I thought he started doing this Paul on the plane impression, which was spot on. But yeah, now it seems like he's pulling off a dead ringer for Karen B. It's impressive. It is no doubt impressive. All right, so I suppose we can get Hoosier in here. I'm not going to stick around and wait for Walter. He's making coffee. It'll take him 20 minutes to make coffee.
That's one hell of a coffee cup, by the way.
You like that? I got that for Father's Day last year, I think. I think that's what
Stein.
Well, since we put the numbers out there, somebody actually took us up, and which I thought was really cool. So everybody, welcome Hoosier. Hoosier, thanks for calling in, hanging out.
Good evening, Hoosier.
How's it going?
Sometimes it's a little bit hard to figure out Zoom's audio.
Am I audible currently?
You are currently audible. Perfect. Welcome, Hoosier.
Excellent. Good evening to y'all.
Well, thanks for giving us a buzz. What you got on your mind?
Well, you guys mentioned Mandela, and obviously I missed about the first 45 minutes, but I heard about we can see too far. One guy was talking about seeing the person on the Sea-Doo or whatever, jet ski type thing. So that was interesting, yeah. But I heard you guys mention Mandela, and that's something I've been looking at for a while. I don't have a solid explanation for it, but I do have a room in my little Discord server where I at least post stuff and hear what people are saying. And yeah, what was on your guys' mind about that, whoever brought that up?
Well, real quick, Hoosier, what's your Discord server's name? Is it sort of open? People find it?
Sort of. I can post a link to it. There's not much activity in it. It's more of like a hub for links because I'm too lazy to clean out my bookmarks. I've just got like thousands of them, you know, it's a mess. But yeah, I might post it here in the chat in a little bit. It's not really a big one that's too public, but if people want to join, I'll add it later on.
No, right on.
Oh, well, I was the one who brought up the Mandela, but you might have already known about this one. But in the Smoky Mountains, how do you spell Smoky in the Smoky Mountains?
I've been there. Went there as a child, and as I recall, it's Smokey, but I might be wrong.
Yeah,
I was going to say EY also.
Yeah, well, that's how everyone remembers it, don't they? But apparently not. It's got no E. It's which I find
Oh wait, I'm back.
absolutely
My
bizarre.
apologies, Rob, and my apologies, Hoosier. I got a little sidetracked with the coffee thing, so I'm back, and my apologies. What is the deal? Yeah, that's how Smoky Mountain is spelled.
Yeah, so on this one, I watched a video there last night, and the guy brought this one up. Now, this is on the Smoky Mountains as we speak. So these guys have got Smoky Mountain, and there's many signs with this spelling of Smoky without the E, but this guy down here, everyone can see my screen, can't they? This guy down here has got Smoky with the E in it. So you've got 3 signs of a mountaintop little shops and one without the E. Smokey the Bear had an E in it, if I remember.
Yeah, but he wasn't part of Smoky Mountains. He was.
Wasn't he? Was it Yellowstone? Was he?
He was about the parks across.
See, I'm from Australia. Remember?
And yeah, the Smoky Mountains that I grew up around, knowing about and visiting as a kid was the KY. Yeah, that's the shirts and et cetera we had.
I find that one a bit bizarre. Yeah.
It's a colloquial thing.
So, you got any new ones? You're a believer of the Mandela?
Well, let's see. I don't know exactly how to answer that. Not really a believer, because a lot of them don't really work for me, or I don't have a solid memory of them, is what I would say. So they don't qualify. What obviously got me at first several years ago was the Berenstain thing. That one's one of the most solid ones, because I always pronounced it that way, and I've never mistaken an E for an A before. So that one, I'm sure anybody who's looked into this, that's one of like kind of the pillar ones for many people, at least. Anyways, though, there's quite a few that have popped up recently. Ed McMahon and his big checks, for Publishers Clearinghouse, but he never actually worked for Publishers Clearinghouse, even though there's a picture of him on a Roseanne episode with a giant check in his hand. Richard Simmons doesn't wear a headband or like wristbands at all either, which is quite strange, because all the costumes of him, when people are, doing it for Halloween or whatnot, they always wear at least like a headband. And so many of these, I think, can be explained in a different way, or I don't have a solid memory, but I don't doubt the solid memories of other people. It's kind of different when you're just in an anonymous forum. Like there's a Reddit for various men. Ace and I call them the Mandelta effect. But anyways, it's different when you're speaking with somebody about it, as opposed to just somebody saying, I totally remember it this way, because you don't know who's just fucking around, basically. Pardon my French, but
I really think a lot of it is formed by popular media's remembrance of these events. The Saturday Night Live skit, as you say, the costume that always has the headband. Unfortunately, my mother went through this whole phase of us getting healthy through Richard Simmons with the cards and the sweating with the oldies and sweating with the jazz and the whole 9 yards. And I watched, unfortunately, way too many hours of that shit growing up. And yeah, he didn't wear a headband. He was just overly flamboyant and had LeMay shorts and.
But the
I don't even remember wristbands, but the caricature would always have the headband to make the poofy hair look more emphasized and silly, kind of. Yeah, that's my take on things like that. The Star Wars one, the Empire Strikes Back one, the Jaws one. A lot of that is just the cultural take on what the original thing was to me. But I'm like you, the Berenstain, again, Stein, because the Frankenstein never would have said that A.
I think I struggle with all of them, all the Mandela effects, except the Mandela effect, because I know he died.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. See, I don't have any of these memories of people dying and then it turns out they didn't actually die, like at least solidly. I might have like a thought that maybe they did, especially with some like older Hollywood people that I might have seen in films, a long time ago. I don't really follow movies that close anyways, but I've heard other people who I believe to be very credible people who have no reason to lie or even exaggerate say that they definitely remember, like Sage Aquay remembers Michael Douglas or one of those Douglas guys definitely dying. Like he recalls the funeral and seeing it in the paper and stuff. I don't have anything like that, but I don't doubt people who remember that. That's what's weird about this thing.
I have a definitive memory of going when the second time Nelson Mandela died, of going, he's already dead.
Yep.
I remember that as my gut reaction. I remember he died. I remember it being reported, and I can't prove it, but that's the only one for me that actually is, I have any real strength of personal belief in, including C-3PO.
Bible literalist in chat says, I think it's pointless to debate the Mandela effect since the evidence you would need to prove it can change. And I think that's, again, sort of the pointlessness, waste of time aspects that come into trying to delve too deeply into the Mandela effect.
Yeah, but Josh, doesn't it blow your mind when someone tells you something that you believe for? It just blows your mind. I love talking about it because it just blows your mind.
Well,
The Forrest Gump one, and the Field of Dreams ones. You know, when you first heard them, it blew your mind.
No, because I don't
You went,
believe
"What?"
either one of them. Nope, because in Forrest Gump, he and his mother both said that line, and I think people conflate the two. I think he even said the line multiple times. He said it like she did, and he said it in the past tense. I think it was said multiple ways, multiple times, and I think people conflate that memory.
And how
Same
many
with Field of
steps made
Dreams.
it that
The
way?
whole point of the movie Field of Dreams was him playing catch with his dad. That's the whole point of the fucking movie.
Oh, stop ruining it, Josh. Go away.
The whole point of that movie is his
Go
relationship.
hang up.
Spoiler alert,
Go and find a job.
30
But-
years later.
This is the point, is because it's all the universe in which it was your reality. So you can't necessarily argue if in your reality you never heard, if you build it, he will come. The movie would mean something completely different, and that ending scene makes no fucking sense. But how can I argue that? If it wasn't in your reality, that's the crux of this whole conversation. Two different realities. We can argue all day long that you have a reality and I have a reality, and they're the different realities. That's the point of this conversation. So the fact that they're different doesn't necessarily mean anything, and we can spend all day saying, no, it's this way. No, it's this way. Well,
Right.
the point is, it's two different ways. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having the conversation.
Dude,
And
isn't
it's
that
all
Wayne stock?
available media that's easily edited online now. That's where they've got us.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, on that particular one, isn't that just Wayne stock? And it's a merging of the recognition.
On which one? The fuck are you talking about, Adam?
Wayne stock. Build it and they will come in Wayne's World.
Wedding stock.
Wayne stock, where instead of Woodstock, they have Wayne stock, don't they? And there's the ancient Hopi Indian.
Was that on number 2?
Yeah, where it says build it and they will come.
Nobody watched 2, Adam. I think you might be the only one who watched that.
And it may have. Or were they talking? Was the sign meant for a group of people, or was it meant for one person? I guess is the question.
Well, they quote, the point being there, they quote it in that film, but the quote is the Mandela quote as opposed to the film quote.
Just like in Forrest Gump, the voice that whispers to the fella at first says, if you build it, it was either he or they. But the point was to arrange the situation for him to play catch with his dad. It was said, I'm pretty sure, both ways. Once it got around, even Shoeless Joe Jackson was a he. Who is the guy that the voice of Darth Vader? He was there.
Jones, in his speech, he says it one way.
Yeah.
Just like the Forrest Gump thing, it was said multiple ways in the movie. You saw it one way, you saw it another. You remember this scene, that one triggered your memory, and they did it differently on the freaking skit that weekend. Who knows?
Yep, I bet you could probably find a whole bunch of weird things that you don't remember being that way. The pop culture stuff, I bet you people go back and watch Titanic, you're going to find a lot of things that you didn't think were the way they were, that you remembered them differently.
Right. Rose is not there when he's the king of the world, but everybody thinks she is.
Yep, because it's 2 separate scenes. Same location, supposed to be both on the bow, but Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to say that in large part, I find this more amusing than anything, just to
I'm
kind of
having a
investigate
ball.
it. But some of them are weird to me. Like I said, we in the Mandela community, if that's a thing, there's kind of language that's developed, and you have your anchor effects, and they're not the same for everybody. And the whole thing's actually really hilarious to me. I don't really spend too much time like on the actual investigation. It's just like I said, amusement to large part, and kind of like amazement. I think there's a lot of solid explanations for many of them, but at the same time, it differs from person to person. So it's just a whole wacky thing that's developed over the last several years.
What's hard to deny is people that look into it generally find at least one. There's definitely something that seems to be there. And I think it was mentioned in chat that there's a lot of fake Mandela effects put out there, possibly as a red herring, which I absolutely believe, because we see that same kind of behavior in the flat earth and 9/11 chemtrails everywhere. That's getting to be part of the playbook now.
Muddying the waters.
Yep. That's exactly right. But it is super interesting. I do dig it. It's an awesome thing it's entertaining. It's entertaining to look at. It's entertaining to research. But
have you ever had a flip-flop? Have you ever had something that you saw was one way and then like a couple months later it went back to the other way? Are you familiar with that terminology, the flip-flop? People have had that with the line from Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks saying, Houston, we have a problem, or we've had a problem. These are like very minor, verbalizations or whatever, but sometimes things flip-flop on people. I see that a lot on some of the Mandela forums of how they remember it a few months ago one way, like Fruit Loops being spelled one way in the Thinker statue. The Thinker statue is a hot one right now, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good one. Whether he's resting his hand on his forehead on his hand, or it's his chin.
Right.
The JFK one with the 4 people in the car, not the 6, or the 6 people in the car, not the 4, I should say. So that was a bizarre one for me, because I've seen that Zeruda film 1,000 times, and I've never noticed that there was 6 people in the car.
It was always 6.
Yeah.
And they were always lower in front of JFK. And
yeah, never ever noticed that. That was bizarre to me.
But why would you have been looking?
That was one of my first conspiracies I dug deeply into.
Why would I have been looking?
Well, yeah.
Why would I have not noticed that? Why would I have not noticed that there was
because
6
you're
people
focused on JFK.
You're watching Kennedy's head explode open.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Well, obviously I wasn't, but
what were the shape of the wheels?
If there is 6, but yeah,
what were the shape of the wheels, Rob, on the limousine? Do you remember the shape of the wheels?
Well, I hope I remember.
Because
haven't they got the car that only could support 4 people?
No,
it has a.
They did his inaugural parade. He was in a limousine that only held 4 people like that. That day in Dallas, it was a stretch limo that held the 6. A lot of times people confuse the two because they have that inauguration limousine on display, and a lot of people think that that's the limo that he was shot in because they're both convertibles. And I think that's where a lot of confusion comes from too.
Yeah. Don't ruin it for me, Josh.
I'm sorry. Like I said, it's fun to look into. It's fun to read.
See, I'm down under here. I see 6 when it's really a 4, or is that a 9?
Oh, it's the blood rushing to your head. You're right.
See, that's the problem.
Just try watching it.
Is that rain somewhere?
I've got a mower that's mowing next door.
Oh, that's what it is. Well, Hoosier, what is your latest, you're not into the Mandela, so what's got you going these days? What's got your interest? Where are you digging into?
Oh, I kind of bounced around. I'm always obviously interested in most flat earth discussion. Sometimes.
Are you a flat earther?
I've kind of. Oh yeah, Hoosier Flatty is my normal name, but I kind of took that away. I lost my original account from a few years ago, and I just go by Hoosier now because I get into other topics on the internet too. And if I have Flatty after it, it automatically makes people triggered by flat Earth, and they will, detract from the subject at hand and get on me about, pear Earth or oblate spirit Earth or whatever they're talking about and how it's true and everything. So I just went to that. So yes, think that I am. I definitely think cathexis says a good thing. We experience the world as a level, motionless plane with the sun, moon, and stars moving above us. I like that line from him. There's a fuller quote of that, but it's essentially that. And that's pretty much where I'm at. I mean, we can see too far. I know that for myself. And there's thousands of examples for that. I'm not as scientifically literate as people like Bob was in the chat earlier saying some things, and I'm not quite as like I said, literate to the advanced, discussions that they're having regarding force or, and or
Well, you're in good company here then, mate, because there's not too many smarts around this joint either.
Nope.
Some of us don't even have a job.
Damn right. Just a bunch of lazy bums. No good, useless.
To fully answer your question, though, I look at all things that are going on. I'm interested in political stuff to a degree. Just trying to figure it all out. That's pretty much where I'm at. So I look at almost everything.
Has anybody heard from cathexis lately? We haven't talked to cathexis in years. We've had him on when we first got started, before there was any real show. It was just us. Basically, what we're doing tonight, we just get together to chit chat and hang out, and we're like, well, fuck it, let's go live. And cathexis would see us, and he'd hop on with us at least a couple of times. Has anybody heard anything from him as of late?
Yeah, I talk to him fairly regularly.
I need to dig out those old videos. I think I've got them spread out between my channel when we go live, or the Have No Sphere podcast channel. I think there's a couple different ones. I really need to compile all these, especially when we back them up and move to a different platform. We'll get them all put down in order. Because, yeah, it goes back probably 3 or 4 years.
Cool.
Great conversations, though.
I think I saw from the copyright strike, Josh, it goes back to the IRM channel goes to March 2016. So it's just over 3 years that, and then there'll be all the Have No Sphere podcasts and the likes. So yeah, it's a good 4 years, I bet, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably on my personal channel. I'll pull it up, see what I can find. It's crazy.
And we do have someone else in chat who wants to join, Josh, too.
Good, because
I don't.
Sketch.
But he wants to talk about aliens, so I don't know how we'll go there.
Oh, I got that covered, bro.
I think that it could very well tie into the Mandela effect. Assuming that aliens and UFOs aren't coming from interstellar space, as we're told, as we're led to believe. Mm-hmm. If they're time travelers, I mean, because that's part of that conversation that becomes hard to argue. Because how do you prove or disprove any of this kind of thing? It's time travel. If we don't have time travel yet, we could have it yesterday. It's really weird. Who the fuck knows? But
Marty!
I think it's definitely worth a conversation, and Walt is definitely knowledgeable. Because I think it definitely ties into the flat Earth. I think I saw somebody in chat say that paranormal doesn't really work too well, doesn't go with flat Earth very well. And I think it does. I think, well, because it's, we live on a flat motionless plane. So whether it's a Sasquatch or...
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to bring up Sasquatch and the paranormal nature of that, perhaps. There's a lot of people who are quite credible who have some wild experiences with that.
Absolutely. And I think that those experiences are happening on a flat Earth. So I think that the paranormal and the flat Earth go hand in hand because they always have. Those questions have always been around. We're just realizing we were asking them on the flat Earth. So, Sketchy wanted to call in. Do I need to drop the number back out there? See if I can find it. Sketchy, you're calling from the States?
Country, but I'm not sure. if I got an answer. We've been kind of going back and forth already in chat. So I'll probably need to stop there and get Sketch C in here for this discussion.
Yeah, it was Chatbox Travels that was saying that they don't really go together too terribly well. All right, Sketch C.
I think they fit fine once you figure out what those outer lands probably are.
That's a meeting ID that you're going to need.
I personally find paranormal or glitch in the matrix type things to be perfectly congruent with all questionings of the earth, this flat earth consideration, everything. I don't really see why there would be any sort of distinction. It's still reality, whatever it is.
I know, I guess if you still are trying to put the aliens out on those far away spinny space pairs, maybe that's the issue. But other than that, yeah, they fit right on in with what I've dealt with my full lifetime now. So, yeah.
And what's more important is the new eyes that we've been given after having found the flat earth. That just like going back to watch movies and finding all sorts of flat earth references, I think if we can start to discern the story that we've been given versus the evidence that we're being shown versus the stories that we're being told, and look at all this stuff with new eyes, I bet you it's going to paint a completely different picture. The trick is finding the time and the resources to continue what we're doing while also reevaluating every other fucking thing we've ever been taught. Because who has that sort of time except for jobless bums like me?
Sometimes I listen to people like Richard Dolan and Dark Journalist, Joseph Farrell, and these guys, to a degree, they differ, but speak of aliens. And I doubt many of these claims because they often have very little to them other than just anecdotal stuff like, hey, we've got the Nordics, we've got the Greys and the reptilians and things like this, but with very little other than anything than like pocketed reports, witnesses. And that doesn't do much for me, but I don't deny the stuff about craft that are moving around in all sorts of crazy ways. I don't necessarily attach that with like extraterrestrials either. To me, it could just as easily be something that's just, a high level of technology. But anyways, I don't know what these beings that are reported could be. I've never had an experience, but other people have, and so I can't deny it. But listening to some of these more popular alien type things or producers of content like that, I kind of wave my hand down and go, I don't know about that for a lot of it. But at the same time, just to reiterate, maybe they're coming from somewhere that's just a little bit different than Cygnus Aurale or Alpha Centauri or whatnot. You know what I mean? Yeah.
As I've said on here before, I've saw an unidentified. I won't say UFO. I reckon if you say UFO, you automatically think of aliens. So I'll say unidentified flying object, which is, even though it's the same thing, it's different if you say UFO, to me anyway. So I saw an unidentified flying object when I was about 14 or 15, or I was on the footy field. And the whole team saw it. It was just something that was hovering maybe 20 or 30 kilometers away, up above one of the mountains west of where I live. And it was sat there for a while, and off it flew south. And it was massive. It wasn't a plane. I don't know what the hell it was. No one else on the radio the next day. Lots of people saw it. No one else could explain what it was. And it went away from the news very, very quickly. It wasn't talked about again. But it was bizarre. It was massive. Whatever it was massive, and off it went. I'll never forget it. It's the one and only time I've ever seen anything.
It's nice to have a group view, group see. That helps always.
Yeah, but it was on the radio the next morning. They were trying to.
And what were they telling you?
No, the Air Force didn't know what it was.
Oh, really?
But that was it. That was it. It was never talked about again. I never heard anyone. But that was back when I had 2 TV channels and 1 radio station.
Right.
So there wasn't much media out there. There was no social media 30 years ago. So, but it was it was definitely something. It wasn't a plane. It wasn't a big blimp. It looked metallic. It was massive, and off it went. And the whole team saw it. There would have been 100 kids sitting on the field. We were all watching this thing, and off it went. Yeah, it was bizarre. That's what I'll call it.
Well, my group sighting when I was about, I guess, 10, 11, something like that, mid 70s, late 70s, we were in the backyard with like 2 different sets of family members from all different areas here. We were all playing volleyball in the backyard. There were probably about 15 people back there. And our neighbor and his kids were already across the street with us, playing with us, volleyball and stuff. My dad, my stepmom, everybody out there, aunts, uncles. And my neighbor's dad came across the street going, "Hey, y'all look up, there's a UFO going over." And so this thing traveled from like over his house, which is across the street from us. It was a big bright light. It traveled over our house, over into the distance. And my dad's, of course, oh, that's an airplane. That's a weather balloon. That's a whatever. And suddenly a little tiny light comes out the bottom, hovers around it, goes around it, does all these little weird movements, and then goes back into that light, the light that is now stopped. And then it goes away into the distance. So at that point, he stopped trying to figure out what it was. We all flipped out and then all started telling other stories about, things we've seen throughout our lives. The next day, we were, of course, being told it was a weather balloon. And what we saw obviously flying around it, not just hanging below it, was some kind of instrument package that it was lowering to take readings. And I mean, this thing was lit up. It wasn't reflecting sunlight. The sun was actually almost setting at that point when this was all happening. Yeah, it was pretty crazy stuff.
All right, well, we got somebody else that wanted to join the conversation. An old friend of ours. What's up, Jose? How you doing?
Hello. Mic check. How do I sound?
Coming through
good.
loud and clear.
Very good. Hey, glad to be here. I see Zoom. I installed this one about a month ago. I wanted to give it a try, and I never did. It was just sitting in the shelf. In the desktop. Never used it.
Evening, Jose. You all right, bruv?
I'm excellent. Thank you. First, maybe half an hour ago, when I started listening, I said, maybe I want to jump in and give a kind of a little comment about this censorship thing going on that I can just maybe give you that in my final thoughts shortly. But then you guys start talking about UFOs and aliens. And I was into this big time when I was a little kid back in the days in Puerto Rico. I used to look up a lot. Me and my cousin, we used to have a little bit of a smoke and a couple beers, and we just lay back and chill and talk and see all these things moving in the sky, right? And I came up with this theory. I said, what if these UFOs and aliens are not necessarily beings from necessarily other beings different than humans? What if these extraterrestrials are actually humans from the future, from very far away time? Because right now, where we are in right now, we haven't figured out shit in technology. Maybe generation is going to pass. I don't know, a couple hundred years, a couple thousand years. Humans are going to figure out how to time travel, find a little warp hole, whatever space is. Oops, connection is unstable. How about I lose it? And maybe what is those are actually us visiting ourselves from the future. It was just a kind of a wild theory, and I hold on hard and dearly to that until I came across flat Earth a few years ago. Then kind of my mentality changed. What do you think? I don't know. Just a wild idea. I know it's brainstorming, but not a bad thought.
That's what gets sort of weird, doesn't it? Because people talk about mantises and other wildly different forms than a humanoid. So what's that all about?
Yeah, it's really weird. Then my belief when I came onto the flat Earth, I say, yeah, I gotta rethink these aliens and UFOs things. And my best theory about them is just beings from beyond where we cannot reach. Either beyond the ice Antarctica that we physically can't go because of we just can't go so far. As the average Joes and the layman's. I know the military, the government, the powerful people can go there. I don't know if they are actually allowed to go beyond a point because of they are threatened or because they are just guarding it, people say, oh, you can go to Antarctica. I say, yeah, I can go. I can spend a shitload of money and buy a ticket to Antarctica and take some pictures and videos with the penguins. And they say like, oh, yeah, you can go over there, go free, go explore. Why you think I'm going to go? I'm going to go, let's say like, yeah, I'm going to just be a rebel and I'm going to get my backpack with a couple of energy drinks and a shitload of little snacks and peanut butter to see how far I go. How far I'm going to go? 50 miles in that harsh ice and all that? I mean, it's impossible to know what is beyond, and what we are presented with. So if there's any kind of other civilization that we are not aware of with a big technology, and I still stand strong by that, because who knows what's beyond where we can reach as just the average Joes.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
For sure, back in the day before we had the internet and YouTube to fan the flames of all of our crazy conspiratorial ideas, we had a little paper called the National Enquirer. And I can still remember, like probably this same time period, mid 70s, a story about that whole idea that that's what these grays were, is us in the future after we fucked up the atmosphere and the bombs have all gone off. And this is the mutated future humans trying to come back and keep us from doing this bad, whatever we've done to create these little mutant humans that are trying to get our genetics through the baby experimentation and just all this stuff. And I mean,
12 monkeys, baby.
75 or so. So yeah.
Isn't that the H.G. Wells prediction? Is the golden people on the top of the planet, and then the greys, the ones that then end up controlling the future in a time machine by
time machine.
Yeah, it's the Mylock or something like that. They're similar to the greys, I think.
What about if Australians? What about if Australians took over the world?
Oh shit!
How good would it be?
Oh God! Imagine that.
It'd be a hellhole.
Well, we got sketch.
It's also the place where they told us that the dinosaurs never actually were wiped out, and they're the reptilians, the alien. The Inquirer had quite a few little theories about the aliens.
Sorry, Sketchy. I see you were there waiting to get in. I
Oh,
was just
hello,
trying
my
to
apologies.
find a time to get to ease you in a little bit, but you wanted to talk about aliens, and I thought this would be a great time to do it. So,
yeah,
Sketchy,
actually, I just came in for a few minutes just to give my thought, and I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I mean, you get the little link out here, and it's cool to cross, interact, with different platforms. And my final thoughts: censorship. I freaking hate censorship. That's the worst thing that could happen. By censorship, I mean, if I go to a channel, I'm gonna put an example which is out there and everyone knows. If I go to Ranty Flat Earth, he's a content creator. He does his own hangouts. He does a lot of observations. Beautiful, good footage. Whatever your thoughts are and how do you interpret it. If I go in the chat and I type something and I get timeout, I say like, damn, let me wait. And I type something and I keep getting timeout, I say, oh, well, I guess I'm not welcome here anymore. So I'm going to give it one more try. And they keep timing out. I say, you know what? I'm sorry, Ranty, I appreciate your content. I'm going to unsubscribe and don't watch anymore. I don't have to threat your channel like, oh, I got now a personal issue of vendetta to take your channel down. What I could do as a person, if I see you in other chats and I got the power to time you out as a little bit of a revenge, to bury the hatches, I'll time your ass out. I mean, just keeping it real, right? I don't have to threat any channels. I think that's very weak and not a man, thing to do. So if somebody threat a content creator channel to be taken down from one side or another, that's not healthy. That's not brave. That's weak. And that should be unaccepted, So I support all content creators. If I don't feel welcome somewhere, then I think the wiser thing to do is maybe unsubscribe, don't watch, or just sit in the background and watch. Don't threat other content creators. Speak and let's speak, let people do their thing, I think is the most honorable thing to do. If I want to use a clip from whatever channel, I just do it in the most, humble way. I said, let me put this as a phone. And then I get copyright strike and what the hell going on? That's weak. That's not a man move for anybody. So these people doing these things, and I'm calling you out, fight the flat earth. That was really weak. And that wasn't a man move. move that you did, bro. You gotta step up the game and let others use content from one side or another, so we can keep the discussion going. You know.
Jose,
should I
thank
expand
you,
my
mate.
adding experience?
Oh, hiya, Sketch. Sorry,
Thank
we
you, guys. I'm out.
No, Jose,
All right,
before
thank
you
you.
shoot,
Hey, man.
dude, just to say
Yep.
thank you for that shout out, mate. I appreciate
Yes,
it. And
thank you so much.
before
Yep.
you do go,
I heard it too.
shout out to Jose's channel. Really, I really enjoy it, and I'm in the chat. I tend to listen, but I do give a little appraisal. It's been a great show this week, minus the rumpus, Jose. It was a
I hear
really,
you.
really good show, bruv.
I hear you.
And you're getting some really good debates. You know, not necessarily like this evening about the shape of the earth. And yeah, good luck on the channel, mate. Enjoying it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, and keep doing your thing. It's cool. I always today I'm not at work, but when I'm at work and you guys this is the time that I'm throwing stock. I work in the supermarket stocking shelves, so I got my little Bluetooth thingy listening to you guys. So keep it up. I'll see you around.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Jose.
Bye.
Well, so, yeah.
Jose, I appreciate it.
Close the window, I guess, right? Boom.
Yep, should be good. Thanks.
Cheers, bro.
Awesome. Sorry, Sketch. Didn't mean to leave you hanging
Sorry.
there.
Basically, yeah. I'll just explain my story. It happened 2007-ish. I went to a party in the evening, and I was poisoned in my drink. And I was going through agony. I was like, ah! I rang up the hospital. My heart was going out a beat. Went to hospital, and I spent 12 hours praying to angels. So I believe in angels, guardian angels. My prayer was, get the angels to get other angels to get other angels to help me. So it was like a multiplying effect. So I was multiplying prayer. I couldn't do it again. I was just so desperate. And so I was praying to angels for about 12 hours in my hospital bed. Then I went outside for a fag. I looked up and I started to see like hundreds of UFOs in the sky. I thought, what the fuck, man? And I said, move left if you're God, move right, see if you're aliens. And it moved right and then disappeared.
That's crazy.
Yeah, then I went back into my hospital bed and I closed my eyes. And I started to see loads of alien greys pop up and reptilians. And I got a feeling of them, like I've seen them before, like everyone has seen them before. Everyone deep down knows what they are. But that's it.
Wow.
I got it tattooed to my arm, what I saw, to remember. And that's it. But I've also seen evil greys. If you watch YouTube, shape-shifting reporters, if you watch them for about 5 hours straight, I can almost promise you see them as you're going to sleep. Watch it for 5 hours, shape-shifting reptilians and reporters, and you will see them. That's all I can say.
Are you talking about how their eyes seem to go slitted as opposed to circular?
There's loads of different ones. There's shape-shifting reptilians and greys can do it as well. But the one I saw was pure cold-hearted. It was a normal human at first. Then it shifted into a grey, and it looked not evil, but they see us as cattle. You know how we see dogs as we don't care about them, or cows? That's the way they see us.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I didn't believe in aliens before. I never thought about them. I didn't even care about them. But ever since I saw one, I'm mad on them now. But some of them are pure evil, but some of them are very good.
And you were praying to angels to ask.
Yeah, we all have a guardian angel. We all have at least 2 angels looking after us. They're the closest to us than anything spiritual. And you can prove them to yourself, but if you see a fight going on or an argument, send angels to them, and the argument diffuses. That's just an example. That's all I can say, because I'm very shy and nervous. So
Well, you certainly don't have to be, and we're glad you're here, and thank you for sharing this with us.
Yeah.
I've had experience with these things literally since I was a child. My sister was 2.
Angels.
Unfortunately, mine weren't angels at that time. Unfortunately, these were not even grays. These were the grasshopper men that smelled like burning hair. That's how I knew they were coming. I would smell burning hair.
Oh.
So I would have to take my sister and hide her under the steps. Or we had what's it called? Kelly bed, I think. It folds up into the wall.
That's right.
So as kids, we would hide in there and play. But you never pulled the bed up because that would get you trapped if you weren't careful. Well, I would get us in there and pull the bed up and anything to try to keep them, because they would come get her. That's who they were after, not me. They didn't really mess with me until she got there. And then they started coming for her. And that's kind of what I've dealt with my whole life.
Yeah.
She has had children disappear, and cousins have had their kids taken. Now, believe me, I do have really close people that I've met through this community that have had experiences that were quite positive. I've also had people I met in the community that had terrifying experiences that they were then able to turn into positive growth experiences. All I've done, as I said, has been a fighter against these things. So that was really what I was trying to figure out when I started doing the research, is how to keep these things from fucking with my family. Because
have you seen the Truman Show?
Oh yeah.
Do you know about the actors in life?
Wait, what was it? I'm sorry.
Actors.
Okay.
The people, they're everywhere. I don't know who they are. They don't say who they are.
The NPCs, the non-playing characters, the people who seem
They're not extras. Or it could be your best friend. It could be your mom. It could be your dad. You've definitely know at least one. Definitely got a very close friend. That's an actor. They know what you dream. They know what you're thinking. They know what you dream. They know your future. They know everything you think. They're very close to God. They won't say, but they'll give themselves away, but sometimes by accident. Exactly like the Truman Show, but on a psychic scale, deeper scale.
I will say my circle's pretty small. I don't know that I'd have that many actors in there.
There is. I can guarantee you. I don't know what they do. I don't know what they're doing there, but I ain't gonna say what member of my family is. But I was thinking something at night. I said a prayer. Then my friend, he wasn't in the room with me. He was in a different house, miles away. I said a prayer. Then he texted me saying, "Well done. I'll look after you." He gave himself away, but he just let me know that he's an actor. But when I approached him about it, he denied it. He said, "Oh, just send random texts sometimes."
You know, I don't recall the element of the Truman Show being to where they could know Truman's thoughts and be able to experience his dreams. Now, maybe in the like extended script, or if it was like a novel or something, maybe it got into that.
Yeah.
But that's a really interesting concept. I'm going to be thinking about that for a while now.
Yeah, they hang around in pubs. You see them in pubs. Before I was poisoned, before I saw the aliens, 2 weeks before that, the worst day of my life, someone was in the pub staring at me. He done the sign of the cross, as if to say something really bad's going to happen to me. They always give themselves away. That's why I don't call people stupid, because some people they act stupid, but they're not stupid. You know what I mean?
I guess I do have a friend like that, but I still don't know that he would be the actor.
They're everywhere. You could be an actor. You just don't know. I don't want to get people paranoid, but
oh hell,
it's actually
Josh might be an actor.
comforting.
Josh might be an actor, but he's bad at it.
It's comforting.
I'm a lifetime member of the International Thespian Society.
Anyway, my dog just farted. It stinks like beans, so I've got to go.
I can appreciate that. I know exactly how that is, Sketch. My dog can clear a room as well. But thanks for calling in. Thanks for hanging out a little bit.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
See you, man.
Yeah, thank you. Bye. Bye.
Have a great rest of your weekend, Sketch.
You too, you too. And one more thing. Stay flat.
Stay flat.
Absolutely.
Hey, Adam, you want to talk about that rainbow?
I was going to say the same. I posted it in the chat, Josh, if it's...
I've got it saved. We're talking Zach's rainbow, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saved that one, I did.
So I don't know if Zach's there, but this was something that he posted. Is he gone now, Zach, or is he?
No, he's there. He's probably just muted up, staying quiet.
Yeah, I'm here.
If you're there, though, bro, I'll leave it with you. I think Josh is going to stick the picture up. But yeah, you posted it, and it...
Double rainbow. Nothing super out of the ordinary. But then I saw that, like a mirroring of the inside rainbow.
Yeah.
If you look inside it about halfway up, yeah, you can kind of see just some weird lighting going on there.
Real thin line. Just... Yeah, I don't know. It definitely is strange because I even see this strange band in the sky going sort of across those rainbows, at least on the inside.
Yeah, faintly. You know, Earth Aaron posted a double rainbow about a week ago to me in the Discord, and he had said that the color spectrum was mirrored, like from where you got that red line there, and so on the other side it was, instead of it being the same from red to yellow to the green and blue, it was from right to left, red, yellow, and then green and blue. And I can't tell from that picture. Maybe I just haven't zoomed in enough or whatever.
Right here above the trees, this little area, you can start to make it out. If you look at the red, the yellow, and the blue and the green, and you can see the red, the yellow, and the blue and the green here. So if you look right below where these lines are, right below, you can sort of make out the mirror image. I think it might have even been Aaron that posted that picture that I saw too, talking about it being a mirror image. And we had our double rainbow here just maybe 2 or 3 days ago. So I can literally verify it for myself that is indeed what is happening. It is a mirror image of the rainbow. And
I'll send mine. I've got another one of those, Josh. I'll just put it in our chat, and you can put that one up as well.
I'm digging for some right now as well. I remember, early on, we always were looking at the sky and looking at rainbows, and I can remember actually seeing this happening in double. So then take that darker rainbow, make it almost as bright as the bottom one, and then have that weird band of electromagnetic spectrum we can't see, and then the lighter rainbow. So it was like a quadruple thing, or a triple, or however you want to say it. It was like crazy. And that whole area between it, now that I think it through, for that to work would have to be going back to the other pattern, I guess, if this is a repetition of, I don't even know what, the spectrum.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always assumed that a double rainbow was just sort of just that, 2 rainbows. But now I'm not so sure, because that's definitely a reflection. So it would have to break up the spectrum in reverse to put it out the other way.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It would have to go back the other way if it's a pattern.
Yeah. Just looking at mine, I've just posted it in our chat, Josh. I don't know if you can grab that and put it on there, but mine's exactly the same. So you've got the blue, yellow, red, and then the next rainbow is red, yellow, blue. So it's a reflection, yeah. I didn't even notice that.
Did you put it in Twitter, I guess?
Yep.
Gotcha.
That was the point that I noticed when Zach posted the picture, and what I brought up on Nathan's show. And I think it was 10th Man on there saying that they'd had a guy on the week before from the Israel Flat Earth thing, and he'd phoned in and he was talking about the exact same thing, looking for the double rainbow, and it's caused, it was saying from, you might be able to find this, Zach, actually, or readings at the moment, but he was saying it from Hebrew scripture. It was purported to be a reflection off of the dome, so it's created by in some way by the firmament. I think it was described as. I know more than that, but
I know some people I can call and ask about it. Definitely. I'll have to look into that. Is just Jack in chat by any chance? He probably knows chapter and verse off the top of his head. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, sweet. It did work.
But no, they don't even use the word. It's a different word than firmament. No, I can't. I got to get this done. I'm sorry. I'm going to go look. The seeds need to be planted.
Okay, yeah, that image there is much more apparent than the previous one. I see that now. Okay.
Yeah, you can definitely see that it's surely I can zoom. No? Not gonna let me do it, huh? All right then. I don't know paint at all, so that seems to be my issue. Huh. That is interesting. So then I'm so confused now.
Yeah, definitely a mirror image, aren't they? Definitely.
yeah, there's
So what are the
some
changes?
blue on that one, isn't there? I'm going to put the blue in, but
Has anybody gotten a picture or video of rainbows in IR?
No, that's a great question, though. Not that I know of.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because I wonder what would be seen in between those two bands there, between the two red spectrums. Because it almost looks like there's a discoloration in the clouds between the two rainbows. Am I wrong? Or is it the picture? Because it looks like from the sky to the clouds, everything in between the two rainbows is just a little darker.
Yeah, that's that electromagnetic spectrum we can't see that I was referring to earlier. And you see that double again if I can find the picture. Damn it.
yeah, I've no idea. I didn't answer. Would you
check.
only see the red?
I don't know. Let me check YouTube.
That was a full. That was a half rainbow too. That one. So I went to the other side of the house, and it went all the way around. That one. It was a ripper.
Odd. I just don't get the reflection of the spectrum. It's intriguing.
Well, again, I don't know that it'd be a reflection now. It's just
reversal. I don't know.
It's two sides. It's the edge. It's two edges of the bow itself is that wide. We can only see the outline of it. And most times we can only see one edge of the rainbow, and that's all we can see is the edge, because that's the edge that is separated into the different spectrums of light, and that's why we can see it. And when you get a double rainbow like this, then you can make out the whole width, because you can see both edges. It's that stuff in the middle I want to see with an IR filter on it.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting, isn't it? when you look at it closely.
Good photos, boys.
I've got better ones on my camera. That was just from my iPad, that one. But I went and got me a good camera and took some and zoomed right in on the colours, and went to the other side of the house. Yeah. It was yeah, I'd never seen one like that before.
It's good to know it's repeated. I think in some of the chat when Zach posted it, there was talk about it's chemtrails causing it and all sorts, but it appears to be repeatable, doesn't it? And be less repeatable, I think, with just chemtrails. So it would appear to be natural, the phenomena, as opposed to a consequence of any chemtrailing.
Well, I don't see a single video on YouTube addressing rainbows photographed or videoed in the infrared spectrum. Closest thing I got was a fan movie called Infrared from the game Rainbow Six. So I had infrared and rainbow there, but that's the closest I
So when I was watching the Mandela effect video last night, the guy was also talking about, and it makes sense as you think about it more, but there is such thing as a sun bow, a moon bow, a snow bow, a fog bow, and when I'm watering my lawn, I have a sprinkler bow.
So sunbow and moonbow, these are dogs, yeah?
Yeah. I'd like to play his video. It said share if you want, but we won't play his video, and I'd hate to get another strike. But his channel is All Time. It looked like he was a gamer. He used to post videos, gaming sort of videos. But the last 3 videos he's done, 2 Mandela effect videos and another weird one as well. Not worth talking about. But yeah, one of his Mandela effect sort of things was, have you ever heard of sun bows, moon bows, snow bows, fog bows? But they all make sense now because they're all water. They're all light shining through water, which could create what you see here.
Yeah,
so they actually all do make sense. He had examples of all of them, and the sun bow was just like a dog. What do you call them?
Sun dog.
Yeah, the sun dog. So that was the sun bow. But a moon bow, that was like a spectacular photo. So the moonlight coming down this valley, and there was a rainbow. It didn't look very like a colourful rainbow. It looked like more of a black and white sort of a rainbow. But yeah, it was a weird thing to look at. But yeah, they all make sense if you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would say, "Oh, yeah, I've heard of a sunbow before."
No, because where would you have seen? Yeah, where would you have seen a fog bow or a it would be very, very rare. Very
well,
rare
again,
to see that sort of thing.
You'd only see it if the sun's out, right? You'd see the bow through the fog with the presence of the sun. Same thing with the snow. If there's snow in the air, you would see the bow because of the presence of the sun. Just like the rainbow, you see the bow because of the presence of the sun. Now the moon bow's a little different. The moon dogs, just because of the presence of the moon, but everything else is because of the presence of the snow. They're just referred to usually as sun dogs, not sun bows, because everything is really a sun bow.
I personally don't have photographic experience, but I've listened to a lot of people who do. Obviously, some of the most compelling infrared imagery has come from J. Tolan Media with that at Mount San Jacinto, all that, many miles away, showing up big and bold. Now, I don't know how much Crow has been filming in that capacity or whatever. I know I can email Jason and ask him about it. I don't even know how would that even show up in terms of a rainbow on infrared. I just have no clue at all. But obviously there's a few people who probably have already been thinking about this, but since you can't find any results for it, I guess it is due to, ask around for.
Yeah, I think Crow has been using a solar filter as of
Okay. Okay.
That's most of what he's been doing is the sun. Now that he's shot the moon, he's going to shoot the sun. And I think that's what he's been doing as of late. I would like to see people, because I know there's a lot of people that have modified their P900s.
Yeah, did Jaron get his yet? I haven't listened to much of him in the last few weeks.
I think so. From what I remember, I think he did get it back, the way I understand it.
Cool.
Before we wrap up, guys, tonight, it's not my topic of any knowledge whatsoever, but we wandered into aliens and dimensions and stuff, and Walt started a little bit. I just wondered if you're there, Walt, if you'd just kind of just summarize your thought on aliens and stuff since.
Well, it's obviously changed quite a bit over the years since I've brought all that spinning space bear stuff under control. Yeah, I mean, that was really part of the difficulty. You know, a lot of people have their humps to get past for this whole awakening, and mine was hugely the fact that I have interacted with beings that are definitely non-human, and so where the fuck are they from if they're not from somewhere else? I'd looked at dimensional ideas, and then suddenly we find these maps and we have these ideas of these older civilizations that might be just out there and might have been interacting with us for quite some time and taking on many guises throughout history. And that's some idea that had already been talked about in the in the UFO community, that these beings weren't from anywhere else. They'd been here with us forever and were guiding or interacting or terrorizing or changing babies or whatever they've done throughout our history in whatever capacity, be it treating us as cattle or using us as genetic experimentation. We're basically ants to them. Whatever your take might be on it, there definitely are beings who can do things that are not normal. Now, the fact that our government plays a huge role in promoting that so that they can use this idea to some end of one worldism under the guise of us being attacked by these things from outside the dark, that idea is definitely possible and has lots of evidence to back it up. The fact that these things could be right here sitting next to me on camera and we not even know it because, I don't have my camera on, but you get the idea that just they're right outside of our frequency and they're here all the time. I mean, there's all kinds of layers to this. And just as with us humans, different people, different agendas, different belief systems, different upbringings, different whatever that has gotten us to be the people we are individually and culturally and species wide and internationally, and you name it. You could probably apply most of that to these other entities and civilizations and say that I'm sure they're interacting and things at levels that some people experience in a very positive way, and other people, kind of like our guest we had on the Ironworks a long time ago now, Debbie Cobble, is that her new name? Yeah,
that's right.
She experienced this, and me and her have had go watch the interview. You'll find out. I don't want to spend the next hour talking about that, but definitely it doesn't. It's there's so many layers to this. It's just like what we're trying to deal with all the awakenings we're working with. There's no easy one-off answer for sure. So, and I'm doing my best to find these rainbow pictures. I have found a few that are amazing, but they're still not the one I'm looking for. Give me a second here.
Ooh, what you got?
I can't find the mic. Oh, there it is. Okay, so yeah, this was taken the day Prince died, of all days, by a friend of mine off the back of their camp. You can see the band of weird colors between the two, and then you see that weird red like area under the rainbow, and then the just normal blue sky to the left, and almost more purple to the right. Really strange. I found that also in another. Oh man, how am I going to work this thing? Hang on.
That's just too good that you got purple rain on that day. Oh my.
Is that mute working or not? You hear me? Okay, yeah. Fine. So this was the actual same rainbow that same day that I managed to catch over my house. That was the edge of it, and you see the same weird purple falling under it, and then over here it's blue. And when I find the video that matches this picture way on the other side of the sky, you see that same purple to the right, and it was all over Facebook that day here in the area that we got the purple rain the day Prince died. Of course, it was great, like you said there.
In between, you can see some lateral lines. I'm not sure if that's artifacts of photography or whatnot, but yeah,
that was probably my tablet this was taken with back in the day.
Okay.
And then there's this one that I found that was just that same crazy purple to the right, more gray over here, but you can't really see the other one really barely here. But the one that has the 4 I can't find. I've got too much crap spread too many ways, and it sounds like we're ready to wrap this up. When I find it, I'll pop it here somewhere on the description of the show.
And again, it seems like there's a lot of color difference going on in there too.
Oh yeah, and I stopped sharing, my bad.
What you got, Rob? You got something good? That's intense. And the one that I saw this past week where I could verify that reflection, that they're not like a repeating rainbow, that it's a mirror image. Mine was about that clear. It was just like high def rainbow.
Oh, that's a beauty.
That's really cool. That's a good shot there. Yeah, see, it's so much darker on one side than the other. Same there. Now, I've never noticed that in real life. I wonder if the color difference is that much in real life. I've never bothered to look. I'm focused on the spectrum, not the difference in colors on either side of it. Huh.
I'll be looking next time, Josh. It's something that kind of been pointed out tonight. It is quite noticeable in the pictures, isn't it? Even with the full arc ones, under the arc, it's a different colour.
Yep. I really want to see rainbows in different spectrums.
We've wandered round for 40 odd years with our eyes closed, haven't we? It's funny.
Seems that way, doesn't it? Sure does seem that way.
Yeah, that video's not going to work. So I took a video of it, but yeah, I don't know, for some reason it doesn't like it.
You don't have enough RAM. And that might be your issue too, Adam. You may need to step up your RAM game.
Sometimes it plays, sometimes it doesn't. And it's just bizarre.
That's beautiful, that picture, Rob.
It's a little too close for it to be real noticeable, but you can even see the color differences there. Well, shit, fellas.
Yeah, I was just thinking, what we're playing out with, Josh?
I don't know. We could play out with what we played it. Or we could do the long version. I played the long version this morning over here on YouTube at the beginning whilst I got set up.
I'm going to write a fuck YouTube song.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for allowing me to converse with you today. It's been a pleasure.
Hoosier Flatty, thank you so much for coming to hang out. That was awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. It was a blast.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's been fun. Maybe see you next week or sometime sooner or later.
Absolutely.
Anytime, bro. It's
Thank
been a
you.
pleasure.
Thanks, mate.
Alrighty, bye-bye.
See ya. So yeah, I guess we definitely need to get a slate with numbers and meeting IDs that we can display. Figure out a way to streamline and fine-tune this process. But it worked a lot better than I thought it would.
And thanks, Sketch, for showing up as well. We appreciate you sharing that with us.
And you too,
Jose.
as well, Jose. Yeah.
And Jose, I was trying to get back to my mute button. I hit it too quick.
Yeah, it's been a fun show, hasn't it? That unexpected.
Yeah. 3 hours flew by pretty quick.
Yeah, when I looked at my clock, I was shocked. I'm like, wait, I guess I can stop digging for this damn picture because we need to quit.
Well, I did see that the ISS has been opened for commerce, so they will be taking commercial flights now to the ISS for a mere $50 million per trip. So that's good. And now I posted a link. I think I put it in Twitter.
The Cheeto and Chiefs Twitter post.
Which one? The Cheeto and Chiefs? No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe. Was that the story that I posted about?
Here, I'll just read it.
Before the show? Yeah, go ahead. Same one.
For all the money we're spending, NASA should not be talking about going to the moon. We did that 50 years ago. They should be focused on the much bigger things we are doing, including Mars, of which the moon is a part. Defense and science. Now, there's lots of problems here that we could unravel. The fact, number one, well, anyway, but is this a clue or is this just an idiot? I don't know which. Or maybe a clue that this is an idiot. I'm not sure which.
The moon.
I don't even know what he means.
If you go to his official Twitter account,
It's a bizarre statement, isn't it? It's a bizarre statement.
Mars is a part of the moon, then yeah, you need to get that somewhere safe because I'm sure that'll get full.
Unless he means it's a staging.
I don't know what the fuck he means.
So I think I can only speculate. Donald Trump, Trump Tower, where he has everything gilded. That's just sort of the way he does things. That's the way he looks at things, I think, is go big or go home. So when I think he says that the moon is the part of Mars or Mars is a part of the moon, I think he's thinking that it's all sort of in the same like mission directive type thing, right? We're all trying to get out there to space. So rather than going to the moon, which we've already done, we need to think bigger and get to Mars, which is, sort of the same thing. We just need to go.
Yeah, but they want to build a base on the moon, don't they? There's nothing bigger than that. It's not just them going to the moon. It's them building a base so we can go there.
They've already got the first
and have a holiday
ordered up. They got the first part ordered up. We talked about it.
George
Tuesday.
W. wanted to do this back in 2000. He said by 2012 we'll have a base on the moon.
They keep on saying that every couple of years, don't they?
Yeah.
Every couple
decade.
of years they say it, and for some reason people just take it. They just
get ready. There's a war coming.
They just keep saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to be there," and that year comes along, and then they say it again, and yeah, they love it.
It's space lettuce, baby, because we got the attention span of a goldfish. As long as they say it every few years, we forget they said it the first time. Unless you actually look at it. Unless you read it and discern for yourself what kind of cockamamie bullshit they're trying to spread. Then you start to recognize it each time it pops up. Which is, incidentally, quite often.
Oh, well, that's my call it quits. I'll be interested to see any comments from Globers about my observations and my photos there that I put up today. Welcome to hear any criticisms. We want to see your math. What was your height? That bullshit again. It's all there for you to see.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to the infrared shots of rainbows coming out now, too.
That'll be good.
If I had the equipment, I would go set it up. I just don't have any filtering for that. I was going to take my old tablet and convert it. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm right there with you, Walt. If I had the camera and the IR filter and the time and the tripod and the rainbow, I would totally do it too.
You're so
See, I could just make a sprinkler rainbow whenever I want.
fucking job quick.
I know, right?
You're getting way too feisty.
All right, guys, I'm out of here.
All right,
All right,
Rob,
Rob.
I'm glad you were here, man.
You enjoy the rest of your Saturday on this Flat Earth Friday.
Yeah.
Fucking weird.
Fucking time traveler.
Enjoy the
Thanks
future,
for-
Rob.
It is true, Jose. Those
It
fuckers
is.
are here from the future.
Mm. All right.
Go
Catch
back
yous
to
all.
the future where you came from, you
Yeah.
bastard.
See yous.
All right, love you, Rob.
Bye.
See you, pal.
Okay, later, Rob. Sorry. Took me a second to get to my phone.
Yep.
Oh, it's looking good.
I'm telling you, if I just had a
So
nope,
we have
nope,
a
nope, nope,
Rob
nope.
soundbite. We've got Savage soundbite. I made you a Adam soundbite, and we haven't used it in a while. We haven't used it, but we have it.
I have one of the two that I think is loaded up on my Flat Earth Friday soundboard.
Go ahead, see if it's still there.
Well, I just switched over to my Ironwork soundboard so that I
That's
can.
fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And then
There's an old saying in Tennessee. I know it's
There you go.
probably in Tennessee. Fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Can't get fooled again.
It's the only reason I pulled up my Ironwork soundboard. It was just for that one soundbite that I thought I had loaded on.
We'll just call that Adams. That's his. That's Adam's soundbite.
That's my favourite-ish thing. Shows that man was the leader of the world.
His finger
Shit.
just itching right there on that button.
Get us out of here on that terrifying thought, Josh.
All right, might as well. Ah,
Thank y'all so much.
That's been fun. Cheers, everyone.
yep,
Go
thanks
check out
everybody.
this morning's show over there on Ironworks. I will make a video eventually if I can get this new program running right. I'm playing with it, but we'll see what happens. It may just be a good old SkySoft one.
Well, if you notice, I put a link for like a walkthrough of.
Yeah, I saw
the
that.
video.
I did
So-
see that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
And
that should
I'm gonna play with that as well. I got a bit more information too, but not enough. So, and it's been a crazy week. So I was gonna spend this weekend doing some figuring that out. So we'll probably have the time actually.
Yeah, I want to have a little discussion about that too, maybe off the air real quick.
Surely.
But yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. Stop stalling.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody. This has been the Have No Sphere right here on the Flat Earth. All right. Bye. I'm done. I'm not even tired. I didn't work today.
Here's a message of importance
Yeah,
to
but
millions of people who are continually
Yeah.
pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are away. We are not alone. We are striving.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset, Start taking today.